Hey guys, I'm Maddox, or George, is my non-persona name. I'm just gonna play this real quick, see if sound test here, check volumes. All right, we're good. Just an excuse to play Pantera. Thank you all for coming. John, do you know how many views that video had, by the way? If you could check. So while he's checking that, how many here are creators currently? Okay, pretty much everyone. Writers, hold up your hands. Okay, and what about just directors? Okay, got a few. And then anyone else in any other kind of creative, any other? Yeah, kinda. Okay, all right, good. And just out of curiosity, how many people here are specifically interested in comedy videos? Okay, about a quarter, and then what's the rest? Like drama, news, documentary. Anyone? Music videos. Reality TV. Music. You had your hand. Oh, music. Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. I just want to get a feel for who's out there. Before I begin, I want to say thanks to Ellie and John and Hoplite for setting up these talks. Ellie in the back, she's very lovely. So when I tweeted this a while ago, this guy tweeted at me and he said, "I thought you hated the word viral, though." Then he said, "The article sucks," the one that I linked to promoting this. And then he said, "I'm sure your workshop won't, though." I replied to him, "I do hate the word viral, and it won't suck." So, guys, there's a lot of content to get through today. Last time I was worried that we wouldn't have enough content for the time, but there was so much stuff to cover. So as I'm going, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or shout out, and I'll call on you, and we can go from there. So this is obviously the most important thing to discuss is what the talk is about. So it's about new media, and in comparison specifically with old media. So I have a lot of experience in both, and I want to talk specifically about how new media is changing the landscape in Hollywood in very serious and earth-shaking ways. So this is the dream, right? A lot of people go into new media trying to make millions of dollars. You won't necessarily make hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars at first. But by the way, how many people here have a YouTube channel? Okay. And what about just a standalone website? Oh, good. That's a majority of you. And any other? Let's see. So standalone website. And do you all have social media presence outside? Okay. So keep your hands up for a second. Now, outside of your own personal social media account, do you have like a Facebook page for your property or your brand? Okay. Good. That's great. So you can make a living, maybe, doing this stuff. So I want to give a little anecdote. A while ago, I was at Comic-Con, and I was at my booth, and I had my booth mate with me, and I had a bunch of flyers, like everyone does at Comic-Con. And you pass out flyers to people. You say, "Hey, come check out my booth," and people just grab it, and they might toss it in the garbage. I told my booth mate to go out and hand out flyers for my booth. I believe this is what my flyer looked like. I'm better than kids, a lot of small type, blah, blah, blah. At the very bottom, the booth number. So she went out and she went out with a stack of flyers, about 150 of them. She came back an hour later and had passed out one. And I said, "Well, what's the problem?" She said, "Nobody would take it." I said, "Okay, well, what was your pitch?" She said, "Here's a flyer, come check out our booth." I said, "That's terrible. That's shit. I wouldn't take that flyer. Nobody wants a piece of paper, guys. Here, I got a piece of paper in my pocket. Who wants it? Just garbage. It's just garbage. Nobody wants a piece of paper." However, I told her to go back out there, and this time, this is the pitch. I said, "Ask people if they're successful or attractive. And if they're not, don't hand them the flyer. Say, we only want successful and attractive people coming by our booths." Well, something amazing happened. She handed out every single flyer. She came back an hour later to get more flyers. And the booth was going crazy that day because we qualified the people who were coming by. Nobody wants something that's garbage. You have to create value for whatever you're pitching, whatever you're selling. Specifically, I have another more recent example. So I'm writing a new book, and it's coming out, I think, next year, something like that. So I set up a mailing list, very important tool for self-marketing. I set up a mailing list, and the question, I had the email address field, standard. I had the name field, standard. I had their location, approximately. They can put whatever they want. I just want an idea, a rough estimate of where the people are, right? For book tour purposes, whatever. Then I had one other additional field that's kind of the wild card. And I had a question because I wanted to qualify them. I said, why do you think you deserve to be on this mailing list? That question worked overwhelmingly well. It got a huge response. Then, just as an experiment, I changed it to a non-qualifying question. I changed that question to, tell me a little bit about yourself. And you know what the #1 response was in the field? No. People said no. They told me to go to hell. They told me to eat shit. It just got really nasty. Because I was just asking a question, like kind of just like bar small talk, right? But when I changed it back to qualifying, people said, because I do this, because I'm an acrobat, because I'm an artist, because I'm a musician, because blah, 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 and they started qualifying themselves to me. It created value of that mailing list in mind. And I told them, not everyone will join this mailing list. I'm going to decide. And I have actually deleted people from this mailing list based on their snarky responses to me. So who am I? I'm Maddox. Maddox is my creator name. I started my website back in 1997. So you probably have some questions. Obviously, who the hell am I? Who the hell I am? And how am I so handsome? That's a legitimate question. I get that a lot. So here's a video I made that'll help give you an introduction to who I am. Welcome to the best show in the universe. I'm Maddox. Ever get some dust in your eye while someone was using a leaf blower? Yeah, that dust may make pit particles from a dog's asshole. Stow your baby fee. I'd be happy to pay a fee to stow your baby. This wouldn't be a fee for me so much as a fee I would pay to have another passenger's baby forcibly removed from their arms and stowed in the overhead compartment. The compartments would include plenty of straw and fresh water for the baby to play with. Now I know what you're thinking, but Maddox, what if the baby still cries overhead? No problem, I've thought of everything. The fees would include a small tax to help pay for a non-lethal dose of nitrous oxide that was continuously pumped into the overhead cabin to keep your baby docile and complacent throughout the flight. Plain cheese pizza is for idiots. Kids singing, they suck at it. I hate the sound of horses. Rule number 1, shut up. Shut up. It's that simple. Boy, right in the face. Eyes, forehead, or mouth for that. Shut up your fingers. Shut them up. Shut up. You're holding out on me? No. Wrong answer.
Our next guest is the author of the best page in the universe website, I'm Better Than Your Kids. We're happy to welcome Maddox. Good to have you here.
I agree.
Good to have you here.
I agree.
Good to have you here.
I agree.
This is a tank that you drew
Yeah.
as a result of a tank that somebody else drew.
It's incredibly awesome. I gave that an A+.
May I point out to you, sir, that you are 30, what, 2, 31?
30, now I'm 33 years old, but I was 32 years old when I did that. Pepperoni is a topping for idiots. The word really is the punchline. Really. It's so lame it makes my face hurt. The sound of a leaf blower is the sound of inefficiency. 10 out of 10 times when someone wants to show you a video of a kid singing, you think, man, I can't wait to be doing not this. I'm a genius. All right, so that, thank you. That may have raised more questions than it answered, I'm not sure. So that just gives you a brief introduction to who I am. So I started my website in 1997. It's one of the oldest running humor websites on the internet. It's one of the oldest websites on the internet. It's older than Google. You can actually Google that. Google started in 1998, and my website started about a year before that, obviously. So I wrote a bunch of material on my website for years, about 5 years, and I got little to no traffic. I got maybe 5 visitors a month, and I was ecstatic at 5 visitors a month. I thought, wow, 5 people in the world give a shit about what I have to say. And then back in 2002, I wrote a piece that went super viral, to use that word, and I got millions of hits overnight. It got spread around everywhere in the world to the point where people sent me my own articles, and they said, hey, check this out, and I'd write back. I said, yeah, I wrote it, and I found myself in that awkward position of having to prove that I created something that was being forwarded to me. A lot of people called me liars. I'm like, well, somebody created it. Do you know who created it? Because it's me, idiot. So I wrote, that attention got me, all that media attention got me a publishing deal. This was the first book I wrote. It was a New York Times bestseller. It debuted at #2 on the New York Times bestseller list. It's called The Alphabet of Manliness, and it's just a bunch of blustering arrogance and manly stuff, a lot of dick jokes. I hit #1 on Amazon. I hit #1 on Amazon through pre-orders alone, which only a handful of books have ever done. One of them is the Harry Potter series. So that's pretty cool. I put that out to kind of brag to all my fans. Then when it debuted at #4 on the New York Times bestseller list, climbed to #2. I remember standing in a room with the publishers, with all the sellers, from Barnes & Noble, Borders, Books A Million, all the book buyers were in the room, right? And they asked me before the book came out, they said, how do you think the book is going to do? And I said, well, I know it's going to be a New York Times bestseller. The only question is whether it's going to be #1 or &2. If it hits #2, I'm going to be really disappointed. And they all kind of turned to each other and they said, oh, we'd be so happy if it hit #2. I thought to myself, these idiots don't even understand what they're sitting on. I marketed this book to be a New York Times bestseller. Specifically because, well, first of all, when I marketed this book, I qualified the shit out of everyone. I mentioned a year before I wrote the book that I'm writing a book. But the title and the subject is secret. I created a huge air of secrecy. Then, when it came time to, even to the point where I hired illustrators who were my fans, and I told them that I am not going to even, you shouldn't even discuss this with your family if you don't need to. It's very draconian. So I kept such an air of secrecy, and then finally when it came time to release the title of the book, I said, you have to sign up for my mailing list. I got a mailing list of 130,000 subscribers, and essentially to see an advertisement for my book. And then when they signed up on the mailing list, I didn't just send them the title of the book. That's stupid. That's a waste of a mailing list. What I did is I sent them a password-protected website. The password to that website was the release date to my book. And what do people do with passwords? Memorize them, right? So I made people memorize the release date to my book to see an advertisement for my book. And you can see the results. It worked brilliantly. My second book is called I Am Better Than Your Kids. I could not market this book the same way. It did not do as well because this book required submissions from people. So I took all the wind out of my own sails. I relied on the publisher to do the marketing. Bad idea. Don't trust anyone to do anything with your brand. You do it. You have to do it. No one's going to do it for you. I mean, if you find that person, stick with them, because it's really rare that anyone will do anything for you of any use. This is just a random picture of something awesome I threw in there. So the first rule when you're creating content, I think a lot of you probably know this, but just to recap, know your audience. It's really important to know your audience because otherwise you don't know who you're marketing to. You don't know what is going to resonate which content is going to resonate with your audience. The first thing I asked you guys is who you are, essentially. When I came in today, I asked who you are, what kind of content you create. I want to know how many people are comedy. I want to know how many people are you said news and music. So you got to know your audience. And if you don't have an audience, so how many people here have just started out with a YouTube channel? Does anyone have, okay, who has over 1,000 subscribers? Okay, great. And you have, I believe your channel, you're the action figure guy. Hey, Dan. 140,000, that's great. And how many views does your average video get?
I took a hiatus, so now we're getting about 10 to 30,000.
Okay.
We should be doing about 50,000 a video when they're doing well with our audience. We were very engaged.
Okay, great. Anyone else have over 10,000 subscribers? You said you did?
Yeah, but sometimes it depends. Many times I have views about 10,000 or 20,000, and many others are less.
Yeah.
It depends on because it's music. So
Yeah.
today the market of music is very different. So it
Okay.
depends on what you're showing.
Okay. So if you don't have an audience, so the rest of you have less than 1,000 subscribers. Is that correct? Okay. So if you don't have an audience, you have to target one. Know specifically what you're going after and what resonates with them. So the steps are to create a website. I am so glad the majority of you have websites, because that is the biggest key and the biggest leg up I have over most of the content creators on YouTube. People don't realize the value. You think about websites and you think about mailing lists and you think, that's old internet, right? That's like internet 1.0 shit that like people sign up on mailing lists. It seems so archaic. We have Facebook now. We have Twitter, where you can communicate with audiences instantly. But there's a problem with that, and I'll get to that in a bit. Create a channel. Most of you have one. That's great. It's very important. And then create a social media presence. So I kind of shit on the social media aspect of it, but it's important. You can't get around it. I hate Facebook, and I hate Twitter, but I'm on it because it's ubiquitous. You can't get around it. But the website is the #1 component of these three right here. I'll get to why in a bit. Rule number 2, the good news is subscribers don't matter that much. They matter, but not that much. Now, I want you guys all to put yourselves in the position, put yourself in the mindset of somebody who owns a very successful website like Facebook or YouTube, and you have the following problem to solve, okay? You have all these active users who are coming to your website and checking out your content and subscribing and subscribing and subscribing, because everybody tells you at the end of their video what? Subscribe, right? So the net effect of that is sometimes you're subscribing to 50 or 100 different channels. So then YouTube has to send out that news blast to you to notify you of those content creators every time they create new content, right? How would you, as a creator, as the owner of that website, determine which ones to send and which ones not to send? Because if you're subscribed to 100 different channels and you're getting buzzed every few days or every few hours when a content creator uploads something, you get annoyed and you unsubscribe, right? So what YouTube has done, what Google has done, is they have created an algorithmic approach towards solving that problem. They look at your browsing history, they look at your cookies, they see what websites you visited, and they try to determine, based on the websites you visited, which content will appeal to you. The problem is, if you're subscribed to 100 channels, YouTube might only send you a news blast for 100 of those. Now, put yourself back in the position of the content creator, right? If you're one of those hundreds, that means you have a 1 in 3 chance of even going out in that news blast to those people. Because you're competing with all these other people. You're relying on the subscriber module. That's why the subscriber module is not that important. The website is really important, because what you want to do is try to create a one-to-one correspondence with your fans to your content. Don't rely on the subscriber module. That's why you have 140,000 subscribers. He said his average video gets anywhere from 10 to 50,000 views, right? You would think it would be higher. I'll show you this video as a case study. So when I made this video, I had, well, I'm not going to tell you how many subscribers. I want you guys to try to guess the number of subscribers I have. Some of you may already know. That's fine. But this video got 1.5 million views.
Comics recently released the following variant cover for its upcoming Spider-Woman comic book. Upon seeing it, the internet lost its collective mind. Elle Magazine's writer Megan Friedman said.
Okay. That video, excuse me, that video, when I released it, I had about 216,000, about 200,000 subscribers. I published it on September 4th of 2014. It didn't even take a month for that video to get over 1 million views. But there are channels, there are YouTube channels that have much larger audiences than mine that don't get those type of views. I'll show you one of them right here. Okay.
I used to sleep in college like this.
Does anyone know who these guys are? They're Rhett and Link. They are the kings of viral content on YouTube. They do really good stuff. They do a lot of advertisements for small local businesses and things like that. Most of their videos go viral. Anyone have any guess what their subscriber base is? How much? 3 million? All right, we'll see.
Like in class?
I want you to pay attention to the subscribers and the views.
Wake up and you'd have like a red splotch there. And I put a grease mark on it. The table just like that one. So you were that guy in the class before me that made the desk greasy.
Now I would come back and go like this. Get it ready for the next person.
Deep in the future tunnel.
Close, 3.8 million views. And it has 287,000 views. This video, I believe at the time, 6 months after it was posted, has only 287,000 views. So how come my video with fewer subscribers on my channel did better than their video with 3.8 million subscribers? There's some disconnect here, right? If you put your message out to 3.8 million people, some percentage of that should always convert. Well, the problem is it's not the same percentage that it's always going out to. So those 3.8 million subscribers, I mean, it's a good number and it's very impressive and it's useful for other things. But it's not always going to translate into views. That's kind of the misunderstanding with how the subscriber module works on YouTube. Everybody's pushing the subscribers so hard. That's more for YouTube. That makes them look better. It doesn't necessarily do anything for you. As you can see, I mean, these guys do really good content. Here's another one.
Hi, I'm Peter, this is Chris, and well, you've just clicked on a vague, highly sensational title that completely oversells and misrepresents the content of this video. But hey,
812,000 views, only 53,000 subscribers. You don't need subscribers to get the views. The reason their video did so well is because they parodied something that was on the tip of everyone's tongues. They made fun of all those clickbaity type of articles and videos, right? They started out with a very strong hook at the beginning. It was very shareable content, and the length is 4 minutes. The length of the video we just saw, the Rhett and Link one, the talk show, is around 30. Yeah. When's the last time you guys shared a 30-minute video? So we talked a little bit about that disparity. Columbia, let's see, it's Columbia College from Chicago did a study in 2013 about YouTube and the types of content that's on YouTube. And what they found is pretty interesting. This is kind of hard to read, so I'll read it out for you guys. So the number one thing they found is the English channels. English content does really well on YouTube. That makes sense because it's the majority of the audience, right? In English channels, 205 of the top channels, 85% of the top 241 channels were English. And then the rest is Spanish, Korean, Portuguese, German. Now just because it says Spanish is 5%, Korean is 5%, Portuguese and German is 1%. Don't discount that 5% because that's 5% of billions. And that audience is being underserved. Does anyone here speak Spanish or Korean? Okay, you might seriously want to think about doing some Spanish content or hiring someone to convert your videos into Spanish or Korean. That's a huge underserved audience. Remember, 5% looks small, tiny here, but you're competing in a much smaller pond. You're going to be a big fish in a small pond, especially if your content kicks ass, which I trust a lot of you do. So they also looked at the type of content that's on YouTube, serialized versus episodic content. So that video that we saw, Rhett and Link's video, the 3.8 million subscribers, that was a serialized, that was episodic. They did like an episodic talk show. When determining how much content was serialized versus episodic, we found that of the 241 initially studied channels, only one appears to include serialized content. Guys, it's just really hard to get that serialized content to hit and to find its audience. It's not impossible. There's a YouTube channel called, yeah, Tony. Well, that's like something that almost like a drama or a TV show that's that goes in sequence. Like like Breaking Bad is serialized, right? Whereas episodic is more like each episode is its own standalone thing, but it's a part of a series. So serialized content is really hard, especially on YouTube, because people don't have a high attention span. You're not only asking them to watch a long-form piece of content, but then you're asking them to watch multiple episodes of your long-form piece of content. It's not impossible, but it's really hard on YouTube because there's always something popping up at you, right? There's a billion different things trying to get your attention. So here's what they found. The average video length is 4 minutes and 19 seconds long. The average comedy video is 3 minutes and 25 seconds. And then fashion and beauty channels, 7 minutes, 44 seconds. News and commentary, 8 minutes, 55 seconds. And gaming, 9 minutes and 36 seconds. These numbers are astounding, especially for gaming, because look, that's not just the average length of those videos, but that's also the retention rate. You can make a video that's, I don't know, a minute long and think, well, I'm doing pretty good, but if they only watch the first 5 or 10 seconds of your video and they turn it off, it's pointless. The rest of your content is a waste of time. But the average the gaming audience has a really high attention span. You might want to think about that when you create your content to kind of appeal a little bit to gamers if you want them to stay a little bit longer. But this is just what the audiences have come to expect. When someone watches a comedy video, you're not going to sit down for, I mean, who has even seen like an 8-minute long comedy video? Sometimes that's sketches on Funny or Die, right? But it's really rare that one of those goes super viral. I can't even remember the last comedy video I saw that was longer than 3 minutes that went viral. The one exception is Kung Fury. I don't know if you guys have seen Kung Fury. It's a Swedish Kickstarter. The way that worked, though, is the guy made a kick-ass trailer for his short. And the trailer went viral. And it was attached to a Kickstarter project. And the Kickstarter project constantly kept in touch with their audience who subscribed and told them to come check out our channel and to come check out our content. Then finally, when it released, he marketed it well. He told them it was coming out on this and this day. He got everyone pumped up. He sent out a bunch of kick-ass shit in email, and people loved it. But that's pretty rare. That's pretty rare that happens. The other thing I want to talk about is they talked in this Columbia study that said, we found that 85% of the top 100 independent YouTube channels appear to utilize a shoestring budget. 96% of the top 100 independent YouTube channels appear to be shot with a single camera approach. And the average crew sizes were so small were also small across the categories. Guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. Keep your costs low. I mean, you can blow through a budget so fast. I'm sure a lot of you know. This is essentially my setup. When I shoot at home, I shoot at the YouTube space down in Culver City a lot, but when I shoot at home, this is essentially my setup. I have a teleprompter. I brought my teleprompter with me. Here it is. This is my teleprompter. All it is, as you can see there, is a little screen. This is beam splitter glass. And you put this little pivot in here, put the camera behind the beam splitter glass. It's at a 45-degree angle. It's polarized lens, so you can read whatever's reflecting on the screen, and the camera sits right behind it. You can put any camera behind that. My last video, in a week, got 120,000 views. No, in a day, got 120,000 views. And I shot that in my bedroom. It took me about 45 minutes. This was the setup with my cheapo teleprompter here and my cheapo lights. That whole setup cost about $300. Why spend a lot of money? You don't need. By the way, I use the teleprompters at the YouTube space. The teleprompters there are really nice. They cost, I think, upwards of $15,000. And all it is, I was so excited to use a professional teleprompter. I thought, wow, this is the real thing. This is going to be This is going to blow my mind. It's going to be amazing. How many of you have used teleprompters before? Okay, good. The majority. Have you guys ever set one up? Anyone set one up? So the teleprompter is essentially just a computer, just a monitor, like a dummy unit on the bottom, where you plug your source into it. Well, my source is my laptop. And that's exactly what I'm doing with this guy right here at home. Or I'm using a tablet. You see that picture right there? They just put a tablet right on top. So if I'm doing that at home, and I'm doing that at YouTube Space with their $15,000 teleprompter, what's the difference? Well, the only difference is I have to drive an hour to get to Culver City. So there's also something called the YouTube Creator Playbook. Has anyone seen this before? Yeah, you got a couple. Okay, you got a couple. What do you think of the playbook?
I don't like reading it because it's really detailed and
Yeah.
it talks about statistics and stuff that hurt my brain.
Yeah, and Dan?
Two things. It's outdated by the time they turn it to paper, and two, it contradicts itself a lot so much that when you go to the YouTube space and ask questions with two different YouTube employees, they'll give you opposite answers.
Yeah.
It's not against them. It's just like the stuff changes and evolves, the algorithms change so quick, it doesn't matter. That's much. Some stuff does. Some like best practices does. But
Correct, yeah. Yeah, it does contradict itself quite a bit. It's also, you don't need a paper copy. They put out the PDF. There is some good information in this. There's some really good information in this. But the problem is they put out the same rule book for all creators. One of those is to do the call to action. You guys know what that is at the end of the video? Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Click here to subscribe to my channel, or click here on Wednesdays, or click here on Thursdays, or click on my Spotify, click on my Too much. Nobody's going to click on that shit. Here, this is actually from the playbook. It says calls to action. They rate the strategies in the YouTube handbook in terms of effectiveness. So they rate this 4 stars out of 5 in terms of effectiveness. And they also rate it in terms of the time cost. Well, they say this takes 0 to 5 minutes. It's minimal time cost, right? And the effect is annotation, CTR, click-through rate, subscribers, views, and comments. The strategy says direct viewers during the video to take actions that can help build engagement and audience. Why it works. Online videos is an interactive experience. Prompting your viewers to take action will help them feel more invested in your work. That's true. However, everybody's doing it, right? You don't even have to watch a video to know that the last 30 seconds or so Twitter. Yes. Wait, is that 2 links to Twitter? Tumblr. Oh, Tumblr. Okay. So, yes. He has a link to Tumblr. His website. That's good. He has a link to Twitter. His Instagram account. A coming soon shop. Why would anyone ever click on a coming soon shop? More VR me up here. Oh, that's 7 links. I'm sorry. More of me up here. That's another link. And then the blog channel. That's a second YouTube channel. Man, there is so much shit to click on. So right now we have discussed this for the last minute. Just the number of links, let alone which one we're going to click on. Guys, you have a split-second decision to make. Which one are you going to click on?
None.
Right. Probably none.
Monday to Friday. See that?
Here's another one. I can barely stand listening to that, even for this demo. It's just someone babbling into a microphone with 3 different links. This beautiful art, but it looks like there are things to click on over here. So there's more prop on other stuff. Guys, don't link to your stuff and call it stuff. Nobody's going to click on anything called stuff. Like maybe if you're the president of the United States, right? Someone might be interested in what you might want to call stuff. No one's gonna click on stuff. Oh, I want to see other stuff. No, YouTube already does that. They already suggest other stuff for people to click on all the time. They don't need more. Don't do this. Here's another one.
If you haven't already, subscribe to Braincraft. I have a new brainy episode out every Thursday.
Okay. Again, you have the Twitter account, 2 Twitter accounts. You have the Tumblr account. It's a mouthful of a URL. You have the Facebook account. You have this video to click on. Then you have that subscribe link to click on. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the verbal cue, 7. They want you to think about 7 things and make a decision. Forget it, no one's clicking on anything.
Oh, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't.
Another one, so many things to click on. It's very busy. Plus you have this little panel that pops up. There is so much shit to click on here. It's insane.
Thumbs up button and share the video. Be sure to watch the videos on your screen. And we'll see you tomorrow. Yes, I love what you can do for me.
So you don't love me.
You're doing it, so yes, I do love you.
So if I stop doing it,
No.
bye. This lemonade stand's about to turn into a money stand.
More call to action, guys. This is annoying. It's annoying me. I'm actually not even gonna watch the rest of this. That's annoying. I don't want to see. I don't want to hear music playing with a bunch of videos, little thumbnails of videos playing that I don't know who's talking. I don't know what they want me to do. I mean, essentially, guys, it comes down to respect. Respect your audience's time. Don't fuck around with this. You have a very limited time. You guys all have heard, you're all in the industry. You've all heard of the expression elevator pitch, right? What's elevator pitch? Well, give me the pitch to your idea in the amount of time it takes to be in an elevator with someone. You're standing in an elevator for a few seconds with someone. Don't waste their time. You're not gonna just babble. You're not gonna sit to a microphone. You're not gonna make cat noises. You're not going to put this bullshit little icon with a cat meowing or your child babbling into the microphone. Guys, that is precious screen real estate. You have an audience. Respect your audience. Show them the best of your best. So, I said that subscribers don't matter that much, but here's when subscribers actually do matter. When you're doing an MCN. Does everyone know what an MCN is? Okay, not a lot of you. MCN stands for Multi-Channel Network. So Machinima is a multi-channel network. Maker, Base 79, I've never even heard of that one except for this talk. And Fullscreen. I happen to do it Fullscreen. So a multi-channel network is exactly what it sounds like. What they do is they sign you to be a part of their network. It seems kind of counterintuitive. Why would anyone want to do that? Well, for the most people, it's not going to give you much of a benefit. If you become big enough, however, sometimes you do get a little bit of a benefit. So here are the pros and cons. I'll tell you specifically why you should and shouldn't sign with an MCN. Sometimes they give you a higher CPM. Does everyone know what CPM is? Okay, CPM is the amount they pay you per 1,000 impressions. It's cost per 1,000. That's the Roman numeral M. Cost per 1,000. So for every 1,000 viewers you get, if you're getting a $3 CPM, for every 1,000 views you get $3. So if you get 100,000 views on your video, you're making $300 on that video with a $3 CPM. The way the MCN can give you that, actually I'll get to that in just a moment, how the MCN can sometimes give you a higher CPM. Sometimes they give you creator tools. Fullscreen gives you an ability, they give you this batch tool that lets you annotate all your videos in one shot. So say you have a new campaign coming out, you have Kickstarter, you have a new music video, some of you guys are working on videos, and you want to promote that video across all the other artists' videos. Well, it'd be really nice to have a tool to be able to batch update those, so you don't have to update each one individually. Sometimes MCNs provide those tools for you. And sometimes they give you access to stock networks, like stock sound effects, stock music, stock photos, things like that. There's more collaboration opportunity, sometimes, because if you are part of that MCN, you might meet other people who are part of that MCN, and you might be able to collaborate with them. Sometimes the multi-channel network hosts events. Thankfully, we all live in Los Angeles, so it's easy to get to those events, and you can meet people who are in your same field, in your same industry, and you can cross-promote each other. That's a good way to build your channel. Sometimes you have an attentive manager, but how many people have managers or agents right now? Okay, and as you know, if you are a small fish in a big pond, you're not going to get a lot of attention, right? Same thing goes with an MCN. If you have a channel with 1,000 subscribers, I see people comment on the forums of Fullscreen, and they say, hey, my manager won't return my calls, and I click through and I look at their channel, they have like 30 subscribers, their highest view count for their videos like 300-400. It sucks that your manager is not returning your phone calls. It does. But put yourself in their shoes. If you have 100 people under you with 30 or 40 subscribers each, a couple hundred videos each, and they all need a 5-minute phone call throughout the day, that eats up all your time. You don't have time to spend on people who are actually making you money. It sucks, but I understand the business of it. Sometimes there are perks. They give you prizes. There's special events. They have special ads on your channel. They might have sponsorship opportunities. And then there's in-network advertising. So what Fullscreen does, and Maker, and Machinima, some of these other networks, they secure sponsorship deals with certain sponsors. And they're exclusive to those networks. So you might have better access to those. Then the cons are, sometimes there's a long contract. Don't sign a long contract. In fact, I recommend not signing anything ever. I haven't signed anything with Fullscreen, I'm just with them with a handshake deal. But Machinima used to have these contracts that were like 7 years long, and then there were some that went in perpetuity. And I think they got sued. There was like a class action lawsuit or something. A lot of people got out of their contracts because they were signing a lot of really young people who didn't really understand the ramifications of signing a 7-year contract. Saturday Night Live does that, by the way, too. They used to, at least. A lot of my friends have written for Saturday Night Live, and they sign these really long contracts. Well, signing a long contract is never in your favor. It's always going to benefit them. Because if your channel blows up, you become super popular and famous, well, they have you locked away, right? They don't have to spend any more time or money to get you to sign with them. They have you signed from a long time ago. But if your channel doesn't blow up, what does it cost them? Nothing. They have no reason not to sign you for a long contract. There's nothing they lose. Sometimes there's less collaboration opportunities. This applies more to Hollywood agents than it does with the online space. But with Hollywood agents, what happens is sometimes if you're signed with, say, William Morris Endeavor, and you want to work with someone who works at ICM, right, another creator, they might not return that phone call because they want to get that package deal. Something like that kind of happens in the YouTube space as well. Thankfully, not as much. So just be aware of that. And then I mentioned there's sometimes inattentive managers. More awesome shit.
Stop.
What's that? Oh, awesome stuff, yeah. So, here's how for MCNs, okay? Google is giving the MCNs a percentage of the ad revenue, just like the MCNs are giving you a percentage of the ad revenue. So right now on Google, I think the standard rate is what, 65% of the ads? Does anyone know for a fact? I don't remember if it was like 60, 65%, something like that. 65% of ads that show up on your channel, if you're an affiliate, you make that money. So Google pays the MCNs a higher percentage rate. They pay the MCN, they might come to an MCN like Fullscreen, because they're number one right now, they're the biggest MCN online. And they say, okay, you're so big, you have billions of channels, and you have billions of views. Not billions of channels, Howard, I'm sorry. Hundreds of thousands of channels, billions of views. I think it's like 4.8 billion views, something like that. Since you're so big, we're gonna give you a better cut of our ad share, right? We're gonna give you a 95% cut. Well then, that gives Fullscreen a tool for leverage to try to sign big creators. That's where you guys come in. If your channel gets big, and an MCN comes trying to poach you, well, don't just sign. Don't believe their higher CPM jargon. I mean, everyone can say anything, but then they say, oh, well, we didn't have ad inventory this month. We didn't sell what we needed to, et cetera, et cetera. But what they can do, one tool that they actually can offer is to offer you a better CPM rate. So, say you have 1 million subscribers on your channel. That's where subscribers matter, because MCNs will look at those subscribers and say, okay, we want that guy under our belt, because we get those views under our network. And then we get a better rate through Google. So they might come and offer you, instead of a 65% rate through YouTube, they might offer you a 70% rate, or a 75% rate. That's the only time subscribers really matter, is if you want that higher CPM rate. Sometimes you can get it if you have a big enough subscriber base, if you can justify it, essentially. So here is some actual numbers for me. One of my videos, last June, earned $1,000. Actually, I don't think I'm supposed to disclose this information, but whatever. So that's my total estimated earnings, and it got 796,000 views. Right? The video is things you're doing wrong every day, everything. It's a parody of life hack videos. Those are the videos that essentially tell you you're eating cupcakes wrong, you're eating potato chips wrong, you're eating rice wrong, you're drinking Coke wrong. Just stupid videos, right? 796,000 views. What's my CPM? Well, here's how you calculate that. I made $1,000.22, $1,002.22. Divide that by the total number of 1,000 views. I had 796,000 views, right? That equates to about $1.26 CPM. That's about average, actually. It used to be about $3. I used to make about $300 per video that got 1 million views, or 100,000 views. Now I'm making around 1,000. Or excuse me, if you make 1 million views at $3 CPM, that's $3,000. That's when you start to make real money, is when you get into the millions of views and you have a $3 CPM. Making $3 grand a video. Even at $1.26, that's still $1,200 for 1 million views, right? But that's about how much I made, $1,000 for 796,000 views. And that's a successful video by most standards, right? Now, in contrast, here's how the Hollywood business model works. And I'll tell you why I know this so well in just a minute. But essentially it doesn't. I mean, it does, but man, you gotta eat a lot of crap to get there, right? I call it the Kramen's method. You work really hard and hope you get paid. Just pray every day, maybe. I mean, you won't get paid, but I wrote this. I said, getting paid in Hollywood is like one big long game of telephone or operator. You know that game where you pass the message down the line? Except instead of a verbal message being communicated, somebody starts with a wad of cash to give you. They pass it along the line to everyone else, and everyone grabs a few dollars. And by the time it reaches you, not only is there no money left, but it's not even currency you can spend, and it's an associate producer credit. This has been my experience in Hollywood so many times, and I'll tell you why I know that. I've sold 2 TV shows. I've sold three shows, actually. One was sold to Spike a long time ago. It was supposed to be a show similar to The Man Show, and they wanted to call it the best show in the universe. That's why I delayed the launch of my YouTube channel for 2 years, because the title was tied up in this development. Well, has anyone here actually sold a show before?
I'm scientifically
Oh, great.
But I'm still like, it's all bullshit until
Yeah.
somebody
It's-
else gets paid and I get a little something.
Yeah. Yo, my buddy, by the way, every time we have a successful meeting with Spike or the production company, I remember we were sitting in the room and we pitched them this idea. I said, great, let's do it. Let's buy this show. He wanted to go out and get sloshed, drink, celebrate, post it on Facebook. I'm like, dude, nothing has happened. I will celebrate when I get the check and it clears. Right? I was paid $0 for this. They budgeted $120,000 for casting alone for this show. That's a huge budget for casting. And $0, not a cent. I sold another show to Fox. Fox was a lot better. They gave us a budget to create, this was an animated short. They gave us a $25,000 budget to create this. They said, go ahead and produce this for $25,000 and then pay yourselves out of what's left. Bunch of you're laughing because you probably know what happens next, right? Found out 3 minutes of animation costs about $76,000. So they gave us a third of what we need just to produce this thing, just to finish this thing. And I had to call in favors everywhere. And it was not a half-assed operation. We hustled and got our asses, we did our work. This was actually, this crate here was how we delivered the project to Fox. My buddy and his dad built that crate. We created our own stencil because the show is kind of like a gritty version of LA. So just LA. And it has to do with like kind of this kind of seedy underworld in LA. So we built this crate, we put all the DVDs in there with straw and all this other stuff. We brought the crowbar in, plopped it down. Here you go. It was just a perfect delivery. And we did everything right. Got paid $0. $0, of course, because the entire budget went towards production. And then I sold another show. It didn't even get to the point where we started producing anything because they wanted to pay us like $1,500 for in perpetuity rights. No thanks. So the rule number 3. Actually, let me check and see what we're doing on time. Okay. Rule number 3 is to market yourself. Really, really important. That's why I asked you guys earlier at the start how many people have websites. Because your website is going to be your number 1 or your number 2 tool in marketing yourself. Mailing list is another one. Because you have a direct one-to-one correspondence with your fan. You don't have to worry about the YouTube subscriber module. This is my website. Looks like crap. It's one of the oldest running websites. It still looks like a Web 2.0 website because it is Web 2.0. But I get millions and millions of views. You don't need to have fancy graphics up there. You don't need to have fancy production values. It doesn't matter. The content is king, right? This is again from the Columbia study. It said of the top 100 independent YouTube channels, 60% of them have websites disassociated with the YouTube channel. 60% of the top 100 channels on YouTube. That's worth repeating. This data suggests that a majority of the YouTube channels use YouTube as a bouncing off point to create awareness and branch off their own websites. Guys, this is something all the top channels are doing in marketing themselves. They have independent websites like my own. What that does is it drives traffic to your YouTube videos outside of YouTube. You can't just exist on YouTube. You can't just exist on Vimeo. You can't just exist on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. You got 100,000 Instagram followers? Great. What else do you have? Because that's not enough. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, they reach people through this algorithmic method, right? And don't trust an algorithm. It's a computer. It doesn't know anything. You need to have that independent website. You need to ask yourself some questions. Why would anyone watch your content? Now, this is a dangerous question to ask because it sounds like your inner demons, right? Every time I create anything, I have this self-doubt that creeps into my mind where I think, why would anyone watch this? Right? That's like 3 a.m., you're tired, you're bleary-eyed, you're at your computer, you're typing or editing, and you've been working on this project for so long, you kind of lose perspective, and you start to think that everything you're doing is shit, right? Those are your demons talking, right? You need to drown those out. You're all creators, so you know this. But you need to ask yourself at some point when you're sober and not fatigued, why would anyone watch your content? Ask yourself, would you watch your own content? If somebody sent you the video that you just made and you didn't know what it was, would you watch it? That asterisk, by the way, goes back to knowing your audience. You really need to know your audience. Are you sending a message that will resonate with your target audience? Right? Because if you're not going to watch it, why would they watch it? It all goes back to respecting your audience. Do you guys value your time? Well, if you think your time is valuable, their time is valuable. Respect your audience. It goes back to, again, that thumbnail that I was talking about, the call to action, where someone's just like, blah, 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 blah. No one's going to do that in an elevator. Don't be a jackass. Everybody's time is valuable. Treat it like a precious commodity. Treat every second like it's important. That's the approach I took to editing my videos. A long time ago, somebody told me, maybe I read this in a book, I don't remember, but the first video I ever created, I had a lot of pregnant pauses. And I was just really full of myself. I mean, I'm still full of myself, but I had a lot of like really, really pregnant pauses. And I took my time and I added content that I thought, well, maybe it's good. I don't know. We'll see. We'll put it out there and see. Well, maybe it's not good enough. Someone wrote me a comment, a very critical response to my videos. He said, Maddox, your video's shit. He said, your delivery's stiff, it's garbage. You spend too much time in between beats. You're kind of meandering here and there. And you need to cut the fat. So I think I heard something on NPR, some screenwriter, they said, if it's not moving the story forward, it shouldn't be in your script, right? That's something most screenwriters know. Well, the same thing applies to online videos. If it's not moving your story forward, if it's not pitching your video, if it's not moving forward your narrative, cut it. And that's the approach I took. I cut to the point now where if I cut any more words from my scripts, they don't make sense. That's where you want to be. Treat your audience's time as valuable. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't need or want to hear, right? Think about that when you're creating your content. The other rule I like to think about is to not do what everyone else is doing. If you're doing what everyone else is doing, you have a lot of competition. Remember earlier I said that Spanish and Korean content is 5% each of YouTube? Well, that's an underserved market, but it's 5% of a huge pie. And if you make Spanish-speaking content, you're going to be king in that market if your content is good. Does anyone know who the #1 YouTuber is right now?
Still Shane Dawson.
It's not Shane Dawson. It's PewDiePie. It's a guy named PewDiePie.
No skateboarder?
No, he does. I don't think he skateboards. He's a gamer. Yeah, PewDiePie is #1. He has the biggest YouTube channel, the biggest YouTube presence, the most views. Kid's making a lot of money. He's a real nice kid, but he's making a lot of money. And he got that way because, in part, because he started out in Sweden. Sweden didn't even show up as one of the top percentages.
I'm Swedish.
Oh, you're Swedish. Okay, great. Did you know about PewDiePie before?
No.
The Swedish market on YouTube is relatively small. But because he started out in Sweden and his content took off, he became #1 in Sweden, right? He became #1 in Sweden, so YouTube started prioritizing his video ranking. So it started suggesting it to other Swedish viewers. He skyrocketed. Then he moved to the UK. And he already had that #1 ranking from Sweden. And when he moved to the UK, YouTube kept prioritizing his videos because he was #1 in Sweden. Well, we're going to promote more #1 material, especially if it's done in English. Then I think he moved to the United States, or he came to the United States, he started marketing to the US, became #1 in this market. He's doing something really clever because he is doing something that not everyone else is doing. No one's going after the Swedish market. What do you guys notice in this picture? Right? Your eyes are drawn to the thing that's unusual. The thing that's awesome. White rat, right? So similarly, very quiet and very polite. In fact, to the point where they developed an app during the talk because Swedes don't like to make noise when they're listening to people. They developed an app called the Silent Swede that people had to install on their phones. And if they wanted to clap or say yay or boo, they'd press a button. And then in the back of the room, out of a speaker system, it would say boo or yay, and it would play this like weird sound effect of people clapping. And then it showed a real-time tally of the number of boos and yays and claps I got. It was insane. So I got up there and I opened my speech, I think with a hand job joke. And I'm up there clowning around and talking my trash. And then I get down there, and the person who followed me was this girl named Walsh. What's her name? Julie Walsh, I think is her name. World-class designer. I watch her resume. She has multiple works in the Louvre. She's worked for Mercedes and Coca-Cola and Nike, and the other designers in this talk were such high-level designers. And here, if I had known that, I probably wouldn't have opened my speech with a hand job. But there's a reason they had me out there, because there is an argument to be made for ugly design. Ugly design today stands out. And obviously, design doesn't matter that much if I'm getting the traffic. There's millions of websites that look great, that are beautiful, that are works of art, that nobody visits. Who cares, right? I mean, if your goal is to get traffic, you're not getting that traffic, you failed. It doesn't matter how pretty it is, you failed. This is what put me on the map here. I wrote this article a long time ago. Again, it looks like garbage. I graded children's artwork. This is the piece that went viral. Millions and millions of people viewed it. So why did I decide to do YouTube specifically? Well, I wanted to create a video analog to this article where I graded children's artwork. Take advantage of the medium. So I decided to take advantage of the video medium to do a YouTube analog to this. Here, I'll show you it right now.
Ooh, I'm sorry, it's H-I-J-K. Next up is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle song by some kid. I can't even wrap my mind around the audacity it would take for somebody to think that this interpretation does the original justice. I mean, just imagine if they wouldn't use this for the original theme song.
Alright. I think we'll take a little break here. But yeah, that's why I took advantage of the medium. I started creating YouTube content because there's no way to do that content in written form that'll deliver it the same way, right? Take advantage of the medium, guys. A lot of people ask me, I do a podcast, a huge podcast, a lot of people ask me to put the podcast online on YouTube, and I think, okay, that's great, but why would anyone watch it on YouTube? There's no reason to. So I want to create a visual, something that takes advantage of the medium. We'll talk a little bit about more about that after the break. And also, some of you brought some videos. We're going to take a look at those videos too right after the break when we come back. And if you have more videos, bring them up. I got to see how we're doing on timing, but we'll probably look at 3 or 4 of those, and then we'll see if we have more time at the end. I'll take a look at videos. Thank you. Has anyone ever heard of Vsauce before? Few people. You've probably seen some of his videos. Who was it who asked me about serious content? Someone. Yeah, you asked me about serious content during the break because not everything's comedy online. You asked, is there room for serious content online? Absolutely. And Vsauce is one of the best examples of it. So remember that Columbia video where I showed, or excuse me, the Columbia study where I discussed about the average retention rate or the average length of different types of videos? Well, this guy's videos, on average, let's see here. It's this one's 11 minutes, 45 seconds. This one's 9 minutes, 18 seconds. 10 minutes, 53 seconds. That's an eternity online, right? The first time I saw one of his videos, someone sent it to me, and I thought, ha, no way am I watching this whole thing. And then I watched it, and then I watched another one, and I watched another one. I spent a good hour watching this guy's videos because they are so engaging. And remember what I said about respecting your audience's time? He does that. You know what I said about cut everything to the point where if you cut a single more word, it doesn't make sense? He does that. His videos have no fluff. His videos are engaging and his topics are engaging. I'm going to show you just a little bit of one. We don't have time to do the whole thing. I haven't even seen any of his recent videos, but I trust that they're all pretty good. Just to give you an example of some serious content that works online.
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, right now, in America, there are 106 people named Harry Potter. 1,000.
Okay, we are 16 seconds into it, already engaging. He has a great hook. What do you say, 106 people named Harry Potter? That's weird. Okay, why? Why are we talking about that? But that's interesting, right? Right off the top, this video posits the question, when will we run out of names, right? I know that, having not even seen this video, because that's the title of the video. It's really important, though, because it tells you what it is. There's no surprises. People who click on this video aren't getting bait and switched. They know that this is an interesting question. I mean, that's kind of a weird question, too. When will we run out of names? That's interesting. How often do you think about that? Me, never. I mean, well, sometimes. But not specifically names. I think about IP addresses and different types of numbers. But that's kind of a weird question. It's a hook right in the title. And 16 seconds into the video, he's already proposing an interesting question. Or an interesting fact, rather, that 106 people are named Harry Potter. Why only 106? Is that high? Is that low? Well,
2007 named James Bond, and 8 people named Justin Bieber. There just aren't enough names to go around.
Interesting video. Most of his content is long-form content, and all his videos do really well. I think that video had, what, 2 million? Did anyone see the view count on that? Like 2 million views, 3 million views? His videos do phenomenally well. He got over 1 billion views, I think, recently on YouTube. There is definitely room for long, scripted, serious content. Just make it engaging. No fluff. Everyone watched that Coney video a couple years back. Remember that Coney 2012 video? It was a 30-minute video. But it was really well done. They still haven't caught the guy. Great video, though. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some of your guys' content. Some of you brought videos. Thank you for bringing them. We'll look at these. If we have time at the end, I'll look at a few more. But the first one I have here is from Laura, right? It's the internet dating one? Okay, Laura. Okay, let's take a look at this one.
Unbelievable. You just type in a little bit of personal stuff about yourself and you can meet friends all over the country, all over the world.
What kinds of things?
Well, it gets a little confusing and even a little personal. But I mean, it's just amazing. There's so many. There's like plenty of carp. There's still 50 and still hot. There's arpeggio. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's that. Oh, what is drill me till it hurts? What is that? Holy shit, Agnes. This is a dating site where you go to or find someone to fuck. Well, I mean, look at this. What position is most desirable? Well, that could be your career. How about I want to do you in a dungeon? That wouldn't confuse me. Look, this is a picture of someone's naked asshole. That what that is, Agnes. How many of these sites did you go on? Holy shit, Agnes. Still language. Whatever happened to romance? Oh, just like meeting somebody in a cafe, getting introduced by friends. People get busy. Yeah, well, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to make sure I delete myself from all of these accounts. I'm just a bit overwhelmed right now, you know? I don't think I put anything too personal on there. Holy shit, Agnes. Stop it.
All right. Thank you for showing the credits during the end of the video, though, the sound effects. I like that. I like that the credits. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the video?
Well, it's part of a series
Uh-huh.
starring Agnes and Estelle,
Okay.
which is self-contained, it's comedy, and they each address a specific topic. In this case, they're dating. And we have others that relate to, we have one on selfies, we have one on body image, and the target is the over 40, usually women, but we also think it could relate to the gals that see their mothers in these.
Okay.
So we're really targeting that niche audience.
And how many videos have you done in the series?
We have 6 aired, and we've shot 13.
Okay. And what is your goal with these videos?
Our goal is to drive more traffic to get either ad revenue or sponsors so that we can continue to do these.
Okay.
And obviously, the big goal would be to sell it.
Yeah. Okay, good. So if you didn't hear in the back, her goals were number 1, to drive more traffic, to get more sponsorship. Number 2, to potentially sell this. Guys, series, as you saw in that Columbia study, are really, really hard to find an audience online. It's not impossible. Like my friend does this video series, Meanest Girls in High School, or video game. It's like puppet animation. Oh man, I'm totally forgetting the name. It's something Meanest Girls in High School. And it's stop motion puppet animation, and it's a series. And it's kind of like, it's kind of snarky, has a huge gay following. Their fans are just voracious. They have a voracious appetite for everything they put out. They have a huge audience, but they found that audience. It took them a long time to find that audience. It's not impossible to find an audience for a series like this, but it does take time. And your end game here is smart, because with series, you're one of the best bets. I'd say 50% as probable as finding an audience online is to try to sell it. You know, this is really well done. The production values are high. It's tight scripted content. So that would be your end game, is to try to sell that. Did anyone have any thoughts or comments on this video? Okay, so yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's how many subscribers do you have right now?
In the
50s, okay. And what does your average video get for views?
About 200.
That's great, actually. If you only have 50 subscribers and you are outperforming the number of subscribers you have, that's great. I have a friend who only has 1,200 subscribers, but his videos consistently get 5,000 views. Guys, you have 120% penetration. That's fantastic. Yeah, Dan.
You seem like you were, you started in the long haul when you were getting 5 views a month, and you were happy to do it. You were going to do it probably for your life, whether it blew up or not. What would your advice be to someone like that or saying, what do you think not the easiest way, but the best high percentage chance of success for getting your first 1,000 subscribers, real audience members? Would they behoove them to contact message boards for like people in that age demographic, or what do you think is the most effective way? Because I don't think running Facebook ads on YouTube series no one's ever heard of really worth a waste of money, and they'll tell you to do that, and Google will too, and I think that's BS. I just wondered, from someone that seems to be very marketing and audience savvy, how do you think it is the best way, especially for something that's not so shocking, that's more like very funny and well written? Because like you can be like naked cats and boobs, whatever, but when you have the opposite of that, that's actually good content coming from someone who makes kind of both. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think is the
Yeah, it's really hard. Like, being a douchebag online is rewarding, Unfortunately, all the douchebags who do those douchebag pranks where I mean, some of them are really funny. I like prank videos, but some of them are just so douchey. They hurt people, but they get the views. And I remember a long time ago too, and I was in line for The Price is Right, and there were these huge frat boy douchebags who were just obnoxious, making fun of everyone, just being jerks. And I decided that I was gonna lie. I was going to use this tack for my approach to try to get on as a contestant. I said I was a teacher from Utah, and I was just happy to be there, and no matter who won, I was happy. And I said, I'm just thankful to be here regardless. I didn't get picked. The douchebags got picked because they want that. They want that really loud, outrageous. Row, where is she? In the back. She asked me earlier. Oh, there's 2 rows actually, right? You're row 2 as well. Okay, so we got 2 rows here. What are the odds? She asked me earlier, how do I get my stuff out there? Do I need to make 2-minute content, 3-minute content, whatever? Guys, the quickest way, if you're doing comedy content, the quickest way to get somebody to come to you, your videos and your website, and to remember you is to tell them a joke. Tell them a funny joke. It doesn't have to be a joke. Just do something funny, and it can be super short, 5 or 10 seconds. That's your pitch. Remember the elevator pitch? That's your pitch. Say, look, it's essentially you're shaking out your hand to them, your virtual hand on the internet, and saying, look, shake my hand, trust me, I have good content in store for you. Here's a little preview. Because without that, if somebody sends you a 2-3 minute video, you're essentially asking them to trust your opinion. I rarely send anything to my friends, and if I do and it's 2 or 3 minutes long, I mean, it makes me look like a jackass if the content sucks, right? I'm only going to share it if it's really good. So if you have that short little piece that makes them laugh or makes them think or makes them remember you, it doesn't even have to be funny. Like you said, you want to do serious content. Pose an interesting question. Do a very short video that gets them in the door. You want to get their foot in the door, right? They put the most interesting. Sometimes when you go shopping for dresses, you walk by and the mannequins have outrageous dresses in the window. Well, those aren't really their big sellers, right? Their big sellers are the spandex and the socks and the earrings and the necklaces and the bracelets, right? But that outrageous dress got your eye's attention, didn't it? That's kind of how the fashion industry works. They have the runways, and they have those outrageous like motorcycle outfits, and they have the huge peacock feathers and this crazy, and people post about it online. They say, look at this stupid fashion industry. Look at this absurd stuff they're shoving down our throat. Guys, it's not absurd. It served its purpose. You're talking about them. That's what you want. You want some analogy to that to your videos. Get them in the door. Show them that peacock dress, right? That's what you want to do. And then once they're there, then they'll see your good scripted content, to answer your question, Dan. Then they'll see the rest of your stuff. They'll see, okay, there's someone smart here. There's someone who's doing some really good stuff. And then you'll find your audience. It's going to take a while. You have to be persistent. You have to stick with it. But if you love doing it, you will. And that's essentially it. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Laura. The next one is from Martin. Which one's Martin? Okay, Martin, thank you. Martin, this is Natasha Zero. What's the title of this video? Natasha 00. Okay, do you want to set it up at all, or?
She's a comedic spy. She's a double knot spy with an IQ to match.
Cool. Let's check it out.
Yes, Commander.
Agent 00, do you have the microchip?
Yes, Commander.
Then go to the drop-off point immediately.
Well, it's a funny story if you think about it.
What are you blathering about, 00? Do you have the microchip or not?
I do have it. In my belly. I just swallowed to get away from the hot zone.
You left the hot zone 2 days ago.
I know. I haven't felt well in my tummy. We're ready to recover the disc at any moment.
Every second you wait puts this mission more in danger. Lives are at stake. Recover that disc.
All right. I don't know how many people saw the length of that video. How many people? What would you guys guess the length of that video was? Anyone? 2 minutes? 5 minutes? Yeah. Got it up. So have you, Martin? Thank you for sharing that. It was Martin, right? Yeah, Martin. Thank you for sharing that. Is this part of a series?
Yeah.
How's the series done?
Well, we've got 3 in the can. We haven't launched yet because we want to make sure we can do a season of 7, and make sure we hit every week, so we haven't launched.
Okay. Have you had any improv experience?
Any what kind of experience?
Improv.
Yeah.
Where have you done improv?
Well, actually, Natasha has done a lot,
Oh, it's Natasha right there. Hey, Natasha, how you doing? Great. Okay. Where have you guys done improv? Okay. Has anyone else had any improv experience? Oh, great. A lot of you. I've done improv for 6-7 years. One of the rules that I learned in improv, one of my coaches came to me one time. A lot of times in improv scenes, you have the 2 performers walk up on stage, and you have a little bit of bullshit get to know you time, right? Who are you? What are you doing? Here I am. Here's where we are. Blah, 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 blah. One really important note one of my improv coaches gave me a long time ago. He said, start in the action. Start mid-scene. Start mid-conversation. Because people are smart. People can infer what's going on. Like my girlfriend's right over here, and she makes me watch Game of Thrones on Sundays, and I just started on season 5. Like, what season is it? 5, 6, whatever. And it drives my friends nuts when I start watching seasons with them without knowing what's going on. I'm like, guys, it's a good show. It's a well-written show. Well-written shows, you don't need to know all the history of the character, because if they do it right, you know, right? I watched the new season of Game of Thrones. I knew when characters had past tension and past history. I didn't need to know their life history. I don't need to watch 4 fucking seasons of it. I get it. Someone walks in the room and they see someone else like, oh. You know immediately that something's gone on. I don't need to know what it is, right? That's good writing. Good writing and good acting translates that message to you, right? So back to your video. This can be a 30-second video. There's basically 4 beats in this. And by the way, it's a 4-minute shit joke. Hats off to you, sir. I love shit jokes. I mean, no knock on that. I love shit jokes. But this can be a 30-second video. Here are the beats, right? Start out mid-conversation. The chip's inside my belly. We know she's a spy because it's the title of the show. Natasha 00, right? 00 Natasha. We know she's a spy. The chip's in my belly. We know she's telling somebody who needs to know the chip's in her belly. All he needs to say is, we need it now. We have 5 minutes. So all the scenes where she's like sitting there on the pooper, reading magazines, trying to poop, whatever, you can have that whole thing done in a 5-second montage, quick shot. You know, have you guys seen Darren Aronofsky films? Like Pi and what's the one with the drugs? Requiem for a Dream, right? He has that really cool shot where the guy's shooting up or doing his routine every day, and he slams some water, slams it on the table, quick cut to, shooting up or something, and then you see the blood, whatever. Quick, shot. You have 30 seconds to get your message across. Essentially, Natasha is trying to take a dump, she's constipated, right? Or she's got this chip in her belly, she can't get it out. What if you just had a quick shot of her in the kitchen, constipation medication, right? Quick shot. Cut to swallowing water with a pill, swallowing water. Cut to glass on the table. Cut to her on the toilet, a dud fart, right? Back in the kitchen, milk of magnesia, whatever, Imodium, whatever diarrhea medication or constipation medication there is. Maybe eating a chocolate bar. Cut to magazine on the toilet, dud fart. One more time, then the last shot of this, the last beat, so that's a 5-second sequence. The last beat is maybe her boss pinning a medal on her, congratulations, and she's got the chip. She's got the dirty poopy chip, whatever. If you created a cut like that, now I'm not saying guaranteed that that's going to work, but you can do it because it costs you essentially nothing. You might have to film a couple of other quick scenes, but it's basically Natasha's hands. If you do that A/B testing, You can put it out there and see how that does. It may do better than this 4-minute video. And if it does, great. You got those people in the door. But I would say, I mean, this is, cut it down to the basic beats, you know? There's, if you repeat the joke, which is her sitting on the toilet and farting a lot, which is hilarious, but if you repeat that joke multiple times, you got some like fat in the video that you can trim. That's what I would recommend on that one. Anyone else? Any opinions or suggestions, questions? The reason I mention that is I want to show you guys this video real quick. How many people have heard of 5-second films? Okay, a lot of you, good. 5-second films is a fantastic website that started a long time ago. They started as a joke to try to tell an entire story in 5 seconds. I've told a lot of you today to make 5-second videos because all you need to do is tell them one joke that makes them laugh and they will remember you. Nobody ever goes to a comedy club and sees a comedian who tells 100 jokes and they walk out and be like, whew, boy, got 100 jokes. Remember those? 100 jokes. Lot of jokes. They don't care. No one cares about the number of jokes you tell. It's the 1 or 2 funny ones they remember, right? No one's ever going to say, man, let's go see that comedian who told 100 jokes again. They're going to say, what's his name? Mitch Hedberg. Mitch Hedberg had that philosophy. He said, get on stage, tell them one joke, and walk off. You don't need to tell a whole set. Tell your 30-second joke. They'll remember you. Here's 5-second films philosophy. Look at this.
Robodog, walk. Shit.
Gotta laugh. That's all that matters. Here's another one.
Brian, what's the history of Cinco de Mayo? Shut the fuck up.
That's it. 2 videos, 2 laughs, everyone remembers it. Super simple. They told an entire story in 5 seconds. You know that guy got way too drunk. He started drinking, got way too drunk at some point, and it got unintelligible near the end. He told that story in 5 seconds. The other one, the RoboDog one, there's so much there. Like, what the fuck universe are we in where dogs just fly off and bark? And then his reaction is hilarious. The production quality's awful. Some of you asked about production quality. Don't worry about it, guys. Unless you're showcasing your production skills. Some of you are directors, then you do want to worry about it because you're showcasing your directing skills, right? But if you're not, who cares? One of the top videos, again, is Charlie Bit My Finger. The guy recorded it on his cell phone. No one cares about the production video, the production quality. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for sharing that. I would highly recommend doing A/B testing because I may be wrong. Maybe you'll find an audience with a longer form video, but cut it down to the base components, and it's essentially 3 or 4 beats. The detective is like, we need that chip. We need that chip. I'm trying. Cut to more milk and magnesia or Imodium, like whatever it is, the constipation medication. And then finally, congratulations, you're our top spy. Like, great. It's a really serious shit joke. I love that. Next video we have is from DC, right? DC, do you want to set this up?
Part of a series, started out as a parody of Fox News, and then I went from parodying the far right to just parodying everything on the news.
Okay. And what's the title?
It's John Ridley is doing a show from Marvel, and it's a secret, so we come up with our idea of what the secret show is.
Okay, great. Let's check it out.
John Ridley, the genius behind 12 Years a Slave, is working on a secret television series for Marvel. Everyone in Hollywood is wondering what the project will be. Well, we at Phone News are going to be first to reveal what the new John Singleton series will be. Fasten your seatbelts and prepare to be amazed.
to working now. You hear me? Now you get to working, or I'm gonna get to whipping. You hear me?
Wasn't it wonderful? Remember, you saw it here first, and until our next fairly imbalanced report, tar.
All right, I'm just gonna skip a little bit towards the end here, see what. These are all just credits, right? Okay. So we'll start. We'll start backwards and start. So the credits here start. The last about 25-30 seconds of the video is credits, right? That's a big percentage of your video is credits, and it starts pretty early on. You know that just watching YouTube videos, people generally, what do they do when they sense a video's ending, right? They turn it off. Everything she says after the Hulk bit is probably not going to be seen because people think, oh, I'm sensing the end of the video, the bullshit call to action's coming, I'm going to turn this off. So if you have any content after your content, it's unlikely people will watch it. And that's including my own videos. I try to put a little bumper at the end to get people to watch it. The hardcore fans do, but that's essentially when they'll tune out. Anyone have any thoughts or comments on this video? Yeah, Dan.
The latest Google algorithm for YouTube actually penalizes you for people leaving your videos sooner. So if they watch 90% of your video versus 60% leave, you'll have a higher percentage chance of showing up on the right side of the column. I was just in YouTube last week for a boot camp for 2 days of that. So they want people to watch, they want people to stay on YouTube longer and to watch more of your videos. So if you put like a 30-second video and 60 seconds of bullshit at the end, it actually hurts your video as it stands now, according to people at Google last Wednesday, and that can change quite fast.
Interesting. Good to know. Did everyone hear that? They're starting to penalize your videos for having low retention rate. So you want people to be engaged, guys. Cut the fat. So DC, first of all, I love the glitchy puppet animation. There's a huge audience for that online. I think that this will find its audience for sure because it's essentially, they look like video game characters that are glitching, which is hilarious. It's one of my favorite things. But there's that expression, get them in the army. I think it's, some writer talked about the movie Stripes. Essentially, they're trying to get them into the army because that's where the movie starts, right? Get them in the army. Start the movie. Start the thing. The intro part, whatever. No one's going to be sharing it because of that, right? That's not the hook. I know it's like the setup for this thing, but essentially it's a sketch. What if Hulk was a slave, right? What if Hulk lived in this slave era? I mean, that's a really funny premise. I like that a lot. But you could even expand it a little bit further. If this, what else? Like if Hulk was a slave, maybe the slave driver comes and talks to him in like Hulky type of terms. Like we don't need no Hulkies slacking off on the field, like whatever it is, and like maybe get a little, and then just Hulk picks him up and throws him, like just quick beats. Man, that's a funny video. I mean, you could get to that so much quicker. The slow music at the intro, that's a possibility. That's like where people think, okay, well, when's this going to start, right? They don't even do that in movies anymore. I'm a big fan of cold openings, guys. Cold openings are great. That's the hook. That Vsauce video that we saw, 106 people named Harry Potter. What was the other one? James Bond. How many people named James Bond? 1,007. You guys remember the numbers, right? That was a good hook right up top. I would say cut the beginning. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's funny. Huh. I just got that because you guys said it. Yeah, get them to the army, man. I would just say like start it sooner. Like, and again, guys, here's the thing. If you think that this version of the video might do better, do A/B testing. You have nothing to lose. But I would say do that. Start at the point where he's in the field, and maybe even cut a line or two of the dialogue of the slave driver, and get right to Hulk glitching, picking him up and throwing him into the sky. That's hilarious. It's essentially the same joke as Robo-Dog, right? Like Roboduck just flies off into the sky. That's weird. This is a weird video. Yeah.
I think it was really funny. I love the humor. It's very absurd.
Yeah.
I think I like the slave driver, the way he talks. That's what I thought was funny, is the way he talks and how it's weird and absurd, and it's almost like I think you should go even further with that kind of humor, that it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't the whole thing didn't really make sense. That's
Yeah.
what I thought was really funny.
It's absurd humor.
It's just absurd. Like you don't know what this is about, but it's funny because his voice is just so
Yeah.
upbeat.
I really liked this video, and I kept finding myself at the beginning going, go into it, because the
Yeah.
slides were up there for so long.
Mhm.
That there's not so much to read on the piece of
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
screen. So I'm like, flash it for 3 seconds and go to the next thing.
Right. Well, a great example of what you're talking about is right here at the beginning of the video. First of all, takes forever to show the logo. That's 8 seconds so far of nothing. They know that you made this video because they clicked on your channel. 11 seconds into the video, we still haven't seen the content, right?
Well, 12 Years of Hulk is funny.
12 Years of Hulk is hilarious.
If that's the first thing
John
Yeah.
Wiggly.
it's funny.
So 21 seconds into the video, we still haven't seen the content, right?
The genius behind
I mean, do you think this is the content? Do you think this is what people would be clicking on for?
No, that pretty much is how most of the episodes start.
Okay, they all start this way?
Yeah.
I would look into maybe just starting it. I mean, maybe your fans have come to expect that, but how many subscribers do you have now?
About 200.
So what do you have to lose, right? Start sooner. This is,
12 Years a Slave is working on a secret television series for Marvel. Everyone
I mean, it's like 30 seconds into it, man. That's like half the video. It still hasn't started, right? It's like, man, that's a slow ignition. That's a slow ignition. What do you have to lose? Get to the, trust your content. You don't even, this faux news thing is a funny frame for this. It's a funny setup, but you don't need it. Your jokes are funny. Your sketches are funny. Get to the jokes. Get to the sketches. Get to the content. Get the meat and potatoes. Cut the fluff. You had a question?
I'm just gonna agree with what you're saying. Like I could see
Yes.
that. Sorry, not to be a play teacher.
No, I love it.
But I do stand up and I would totally share that video if it was like a 5 to 10 second video of like 12 years Hulk, and then you like cut to the field, and then the guy just punches him in the face or throws him, and then like the video just ends. I feel like that would be, because everybody knows what the premise is, and then it's just showing the action, and it would be, I think it would be hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
more funny than the setup in the beginning.
Sure. Yeah. Trust yourself, man. Your stuff is good. Just get to it. That's the note there. No one's sharing it because of the long intro. No one's sharing it because of the graphic at the front. Graphic's cool, but I mean, I learned that mistake the hard way. My own videos, when I first started out, I was like, okay, I need a real cool intro, motion graphics, exploding, blah, 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 blah. It was cool the first time people saw it. The second time, people are like, okay, let's skip. The third time, forget it. They're not even going to watch my video. And you can see it on your retention graphs. I'm going to get to the retention graphs in a minute, but you can see if you have that same intro at the beginning, your fans come to expect it, they're just going to skip ahead. Even Netflix sets it up so that if you watch a series on Netflix, it skips the intro. Like The Office, it skips the intro because they know that people are going to be skipping through that. Yeah.
Just to prove your point, if you think about the internet, I've done websites since like 1995. And 10 years ago, everybody wanted a splash.
Uh-huh.
You couldn't find one now if you had to.
Yeah.
Every restaurant used to have this. Now it's like, give me the menu. I did a website for somebody recently. The only thing she said is just put the menu. Well, I told her.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see this.
No.
So now it's just the menu. And
Get them. Yeah. Yeah.
But it just proves your point.
The only time you want an appetizer is when you're eating, right? You don't want to watch an appetizer. Yeah.
I have a question. It's not entirely related to this video, but the Hulk character.
Yeah.
My question is I know for comedy's sake or public domain, or like making fun of people. So yeah, fair use. So in other words, at some point, if someone goes really viral and is actually making money, like there's that channel where the girl opens Disney toys and plays with Disney.
Yeah.
At some point, do some of these companies kind of take notice and say, well, you're using our properties, you can't do that?
They do, yeah. It depends on the company. Marvel is very litigious. They go after everyone for everything all the time, just because they don't want to set the aspirin precedent. You know what the aspirin precedent is? Okay, some of you do, some of you don't. So the aspirin precedent is basically this. The company who created aspirin, I think it was Bayer. Bayer created aspirin a long time ago. And then multiple different companies started making their own brand of aspirin and calling it aspirin. Well, after a while, Bayer realized people were starting to associate the word aspirin with different brands. So they tried to sue in court, and they lost because the court said, well, you didn't protect your brand, and people started using it so much, it has now come to mean something else. It has now come to mean this general term for this drug, right? You have lost the right to the name because you didn't protect it. So Marvel is really afraid of that happening, especially with their properties, because it's everywhere. Hulk is everywhere, Wolverine's everywhere.
With that, you know those Thug Life videos?
Yeah.
They use with the animals and stuff. Do they get in trouble for using clips of that music?
You could potentially. The bottom line is, it's really hit and miss. There's no guarantee that you're going to get taken down. But if you're creating a lot of content on YouTube and one of your videos hits, why take the risk? Why take the risk of some dickhead putting a what is it? The DMCA notice? Yeah. Just don't risk it.
Actually, I've gotten claims of copyright infringement for the opening music.
Yeah.
Which is public domain, and
it's annoying.
I've had to fight it repeatedly.
Yeah. It's annoying.
I have 3D versions of the actual Hulk. I made one that didn't look like it.
Yeah.
To kind of make a difference.
I mean, this is clearly fair use and parody, but if you down the line, you might want to change it up enough so that you could have a fair use claim to it. And really, it just depends. Like Robot Chicken does it all the time. Yeah, in the back.
This reminds me of a question because we have a video that shows John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther and all that. Isn't there a law that protects 5 seconds views of historical stuff or anything like that?
No, there's no. That's a common misunderstanding that it doesn't matter how much copyright content you use. It doesn't matter. I mean, the less you use, the more likely it would be that they are not going to come after you. For a few seconds. Like in my newest video, I have the Mad Max trailer, but I'm commenting on it, and so if they try to take it down, I will fight that. But yeah. Yeah. Well. So Dan has a.
In that Google playbook that he held up that's online, there's a whole section on that. There's actually 3 or 4 videos. I mean, some of them contradict each other. Some to that they're really the uses for fair use. It's like basically if it goes to court, you can fight. You get a good lawyer, you can fight it either way. Most people there's not enough time and money invested in the product. But if you look at the Google playbook, on the Google Creator Channel on the YouTube, there's 3 or 4 really good videos about that talk about fair use for news and for nonprofit stuff. But saying it's not for profit or it's for charity or for orphans, whatever, does not protect you in any way. It's whether these people, it's for their time and investment to do it, or to defend their IP, because if they don't over a certain amount of time, their IP becomes worthless and they can't protect it. Because if you don't protect what you have, the county was not happy because you're not caring about it. Sorry, that's it.
Yeah.
But it is, I just want, it does, yeah, it depends on how much of a dick people want to be.
Yeah, it really there's no hard and fast rule. I mean, essentially, if you're commenting on it and it seems like it's fair use, you're actually doing it right. You're more likely to not get their ire. But I have one of my videos where I do a side-by-side comparison of the movie Army of Darkness and Oz the Great and Powerful, because they're both Sam Raimi movies, and Sam Raimi ripped himself off. He's essentially sold us the exact same movie, shot for shot, scene for scene, beat for beat. It's the same movie. One is great, one is terrible. I did a side-by-side comparison. That's fair use. It's commentary and criticism. But Universal has claimed that video 4 times, and 4 times I fought it and won. So it hasn't been claimed again, but who knows? There's no guarantee, guys. All right, this last video, we're running out of time here. Ro, here we go. This is called Ro's Resta-Rants.
Hi, and welcome to Ro's Resta-Rants. The name in this post has been changed to protect the innocent. A woman comes in, talks to the host, and the host says, I'll be right back with your to-go order. Well, I want a Diet Coke then. And the host goes, well, okay, but it's extra. And she goes, I don't want to pay for it. I can't give it to you for free. And she goes, okay. And she walks away and she comes up to me. Can I get a Diet Coke because I have to wait? She finishes her Diet Coke. I go up to her and I say, you want a refill? She goes, no, I just wanted the one. So I kind of just flip her a check. Thanks. There you go. That's when she lost her mind. Excuse me, do you think it's really good business practice for you to charge me $3 for a Diet Coke I don't understand. Do you think it's good business practice for you to come in and for me not to charge you? She goes, this is ridiculous. I'm never coming back here, and I'm going to tell all my friends never to come back here. When Michelle hears about this, she's going to be really pissed. Fine, charge me. Charge me. So I charge her, I bring it over, she goes, you know what? I don't even want this food. The food had already come. I want you to void everything. I don't want this. So she's losing her mind. I go to void the card, give it to her, I go, there you go. Then she's just standing there. She looks at the food, and then she just throws it on the floor, and she stormed out. Not today, bitch. So I ran after her, and I said, hey! And she turns around and she goes, what? You're never allowed back here. And she's like, fuck you! She storms away. For the record, when I called Michelle and told her all about it, she said she's never hooked her up. Just so you know. And then we Googled her. Her mugshot came up.
Huh.
Yeah. Turns out she's got a problem with drugs and drinking. All right, well, thank you for joining me on Rose Restaurant. Have a great day. Bye.
All right, thank you for sharing, Ro. Any comment? That has 79 views and you have 113 subscribers. You're about 80% of your penetration. It's pretty good. Anyone have any comments or anything? Yeah.
It's so popular because people lose their shit in public all the time.
Yeah.
And you like hear about it and you're like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I like that she went right in for that kind of content.
Yeah. Is someone, you had a comment? Yeah.
Well, I actually think out of all the ones we've seen so far, I like that one best. But I feel like, and it's sort of a common thread throughout a lot of them, I find myself, and I come from a writing background. I don't make YouTube videos, but I study structure, and I'm known for knowing structure. I almost feel like asking, like, what's the point or what's the payoff? She didn't do anything to the customer didn't get billed, she didn't out the customer. I'm not saying you should, or that would be the smart.
You'd like a stronger ending?
But I mean, I like to see clear purpose to every video that I see. Like, what is the purpose? Am I learning something, or am I just being entertained? I think she did a pretty good job, but I still felt like, well, so the woman basically came in, made a mess, screamed and yelled at you in public,
Yeah.
and kids and stuff, and got away with it. So I don't necessarily feel like, obviously I'm not saying you should go out there and beat her down.
Yeah.
Or something, but make a great YouTube video. But no, I mean, I'm just saying, I said in videos in general, I just think when anybody makes it, it's like what you said about respecting the viewer. What is the point? And I'm not picking on that one at all because I actually thought he did a really good job.
I want to give a little opposing viewpoint in the sense that I too thought it was good and clever. I think she did have a punchline, she did have an ending, but maybe it just wasn't very clear or very well done. Because her ending was, I looked it up and she was on drugs, and that's kind of the punchline. But maybe the delivery could have been different or better.
I would
sharper. I don't know.
I would totally agree with what you did.
So I felt like she had the elements, but yeah,
Maybe if she just said, again, I'm not telling you what to say. I don't like. I mean, my point is, if she did word it, it could have had a great ending. If it was like, what do you expect when somebody's, doing this or whatever.
And yeah, and yeah.
Sort of I'm not saying preachy message.
And yeah, in the yeah.
That would have been a payoff.
I think off of what they're both saying, Rose is stand up and she's funny and she knows it. I think with your vlog videos, I love the jump cuts. They're essential to vlog videos. I think they're so great because MTV, everyone's raised on that. All I would recommend is what this guy's saying is just do 2 or 3 takes and make sure the end's strong, like a stand-up set. And your close is not working, but you're not coming back for callback. Just do it's fake. It's not a real. It's not just a story. Do 3 minutes and you did 1 take. Nobody fucking does that.
I agree. Yeah.
So if you just make the button stronger at the end and end it, but I think it's a great thing to incorporate what you said at the beginning into
Sure.
a website.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a blog component.
Yeah.
And eventually build up an audience. Have other video restaurant people blogging underneath your website. Make whole things, but I would like them both. I think it's a totally doable thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's your plan, but it's very good.
You had a comment?
Mildly, I thought the delivery for this, I didn't really feel any real tension. Like, this is what happened, this is screwed up. Like, it seemed a little passive in parts of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
She could have cut some of the middle parts to make it kind of
Tighter, yeah. Ro, was that your first take of that video?
Yeah, it was a really long story.
Yeah.
And when he was editing it, he kind of felt bad about cutting a lot of the things where I actually commented and talked about wanting to beat her down, like her head against the ground. So he basically was like, I wanted to make it shorter because we were noticing that people were dropping off
Yeah.
at a certain point. And that's why he's like, I hated cutting some of that stuff.
Well, some something you could cut real quickly, like right at the top, is the first thing you say in your video is, hey, this is Rose Restaurants, right? Why is that something we should cut? Well, we know that because that's the title of the video, and that's your channel. It's Rose Restaurants. We don't need to hear that again. If we do it after the cold open. That's the hook. Start your video with, a woman walks into my restaurant. She wants another Diet Coke. Boom, we got the setup, all right? And then the rest of it is the interesting story. It's good. You have that interesting story, and it's there. One other thing, we talked about do something that not everyone else is doing. A lot of people tell stories online. A lot of people tell jokes online. What's setting yours apart? Well, nothing really, except for it's your own voice and it's your own brand. That's fine. But what if you experimented with telling that story with really shitty animation or no animation? I mean, you could do that so easily with motion tweens and stuff in any editing program. You don't have to be an expert, and it looks like garbage, but it's hilarious because, as we saw, the glitchy animation is funny. The 5-second video is funny. And if you don't want to go that tack, you want to do really fast, use dolls. Tell your story with dolls. I mean, that's absurd. Who does that? Like, there's like kids do that right now online, but no one's telling these stories with dolls and have the doll tackle and just like, oh no, ah. Yeah, you could even like cut to like whatever and then just like flipping off the doll. Like it'd be, you know, I'm not saying it'll work necessarily, but it's different. Give it a shot. Why not?
I actually wanted to see something that you kind of mentioned, you kind of alluded to right now that the editor cut out, because that's what I was missing in the very beginning. It kind of started sort of built up kind of slow for me, but I thought it would have been interesting seeing very quick cuts of you. I don't know if you have this footage, but like choking out like a teddy bear, kicking the couch, something like that, where you really felt this way towards this bitch. You know, and then getting into this. I'm like, okay, this is okay. Now you got my attention. It took a while for me to get my attention to what you were talking about.
All right. Any other comments? Was that? Yeah.
I was just going to say it's borderline the same thing. You're really talented and your delivery is really cool. I felt I wanted to see a little more extreme both ways. So, you know, maybe when you're screaming really loud, maybe distorted, really close on the camera, you know, get your extremes going, and you'll be very well known.
Okay, on that note, here's another, the last of the 5-second videos I'll play. I just love these.
Oh,
They told an entire day's worth of story in 5 seconds. And they saved some time by titling the video cleverly, Late for Work. You know exactly what the premise is. It's one joke. And everyone laughed, and everyone remembers it, right? Look at 5-second films, guys. Don't be afraid of doing short-form content. You don't have to put a lot out there. This isn't, like, we all have ingrained in our minds to hit that page count because of high school, right? Oh, we need 2 pages. We need 3 pages. What if I'm done with my message in a page? I remember one time I told my friend, I had this teacher in college who gave us this huge semester-long project. She said, it's 35 pages long. Don't wait till the night before. You will fail this class. Don't wait till the week of. You will fail this class. Well, 8 p.m. the night before, I started writing my paper. And I told my friend, he goes, dude, you're going to fail this class. And I told him, no, man, I'm going to do this. I turned in 19 and a quarter out of 35. And he goes, dude, you fell 30% short of this page requirement. I'm like, don't worry, dude. What I wrote is gold. I gave him 19 pages of gold. And I was right. I gave him a pretty good, tight 19 pages. My teacher appreciated that it was a little bit shorter, but I still got the message across. If you know what you're doing, if you can say your message quickly, do it. Get them in the Army. Why not?
What grade did you get?
A. Yeah, I got an A. Thank you. Oh, no. And I failed, actually. I'm a dropout. Well, actually, kind of. Yeah.
So as far as getting paid, are basically clicks, like if it's 5 seconds, and they obviously watch the whole thing because they don't have time to click away. 3 minutes, you know,
Well, see, there's the beauty. First of all, it's a win-win situation. If they click on your video and YouTube serves you an ad, yeah, you still get paid for that. Why not? But it's also a win because it's viral content. That's short, quick content that people are likely to share because it's one joke. What's your name?
Ryan.
Ryan. If Ryan sends you a video and says, hey, man, This is a video I want you to watch. I think it's funny. Whether or not you believe Ryan, whether or not you know Ryan, the video itself is 5 seconds. You're not asking too much of your audience. You're not asking them to invest too much time into watching this video, right? Everybody's likely to click on it. Most people are likely to click on it because it's a 5-second video. It's not a huge time investment. Hey, 5 seconds, man. You might laugh, you might not. It's 5 seconds. That's why Vine works as a platform. But the genius of Vine, and the trick here is that once you're on their website, they serve you more content, and you spend more than a few seconds on Vine, don't you? You watch multiple videos, because if you watch that one funny video, just like the 5-second video film ones, I want to watch more, because you get that dopamine hit, right? You put in a little bit of time, you got a huge reward. We got a dopamine spike because we all laughed. We get addicted to dopamine. We want more of that. So the goal, though, don't worry about clicks on those 5-second videos, those 10-second videos, whatever that hook is, that 30-second video, whatever it is. Don't worry about clicks on that. That's like the fashion industry's motorcycle bustier, right? That's there for people to talk about. You get them in the door. That's that flashy dress in the window in the store. They're not selling that dress every day. That's just there to get people to get gawkers to stop by and then buy their necklaces and bracelets and trinkets and accessories, right? That's their bread maker. So your bread maker is your content. What gets them in the door is your hook, these short videos. Yeah.
I was just going to ask about like YouTube titles, like titles for your videos, like how short or long or I mean, should it be exactly what you're trying to say in your video? Or
Yes.
are there certain words you should try to use to get more traffic, or does it really matter?
Well, search engine optimization guys will say use keywords that'll get the highest paid ads served on your. I don't believe that. I think that, be honest, tell them exactly what the video is, but do it in a compelling way. Like the Natasha 00, right? Is that what it's called? 00. Natasha 00. There could be, I mean, that's the series. The series is called Natasha 00, right? So individual videos could have better titles. They could have titles that are clever, that are hooks. Oh shit, great. Oh shit, it's hilarious. There's a Far Side song called Oh Shit. I listened to it for the first time because I saw the title. The title of a song is called Oh Shit. I'm going to listen to it. Why? I've never heard of a song called Oh Shit. Sounds amazing. And it was. It's a great song. Go listen to it. All right. We'll take more questions in just a minute. We should move on. I think we're a little bit behind. So I talked about the social media presence and marketing yourself. I have a Twitter following. 23,000 views, or followers, rather. I started Twitter relatively late. Some of you in this class probably have more followers than I do. I don't know. Does anyone have more or less? It's, okay, yeah, Twitter's weird. Like, I had a friend one time ask me, like, what's it like to have so many followers? I'm like, you just get a bunch of assholes criticizing everything you say. Just like anything else. Yeah, Natasha. I'm sorry? No, I don't follow anyone. But that's me, and that's my persona. I don't recommend you do that because you'll come across as a prick. But that is who I am online. Like basically my MO, my persona is, I want people to not like me online. Like, right? I get the most consistent message I've been getting in my new videos is people saying that Big Lebowski quotes, like, you're right, but you're an asshole. They agree with me, but they don't want to like me, and that's exactly what I'm going for. I want to be unlikable. Yeah, and so that's what. But it works. I mean, that's an unusual tack. People want to be liked. When you shake someone's hand and you introduce yourself, you almost immediately forget their name. The reason is because you're not thinking about them. You're thinking about you. People want to be liked. People want to come across as affable and friendly. So you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about, how did I just come across? Did I shake too hard? Was I too firm? Was my handshake lame? What do they think? Am I dressed okay? How do I look, right? You think you get internalized because you worry about how people think about you. I don't. This is my Facebook following. Actually, that's a little old. It's like 150 right now. But Facebook, man, Facebook's whole business model is messed up. Essentially, if you advertise on Facebook, so I have 150,000 followers on Facebook, right? Good number. I post a link on there. I might get the average person, if you have 100,000 views or followers, you might get 20 or 30,000 views, sometimes a lot less. I talked to a big company, I won't say which, but they were looking to improve their social networking rank and try to get their engagement up. Their followers, they had 4.3 million followers, blowing me out of the water. And yet, their average engagement was under 10,000 per post. Under 10,000 on 4.3 million, that's insane. I'm blowing them out of the water. I consistently get 91 to 120% penetration on my posts. And it's because I'm doing a couple things that are clever. Again, now this is where you have to put yourself in the shoes of the network, right? Let's say you own Facebook. What's your name? Curtis. Let's say Curtis owns Facebook, right? It's your network. You want people to stay on your website as long as possible, because the more they're on your website, the more likely they are to see what? More content, ads, right? That's Facebook's business model. So it's against their interests to get you to click away from Facebook. So if you post a link to YouTube, it's going to generate that little thumbnail, right? But Facebook is going to deprioritize that in the search ranks. When you go to your news feed, you're less likely to see that link to YouTube because Facebook knows that's an external traffic source. The direction of that vector is going away from Facebook. There's a way to cheat that, though. There's a way to get around it. Facebook penalizes external links, but they reward internal links because Facebook wants content that keeps the viewers on Facebook. And some of that content is pictures. So rather than posting a link to your YouTube video, post a picture with a description that has a link to your YouTube video. So when they click on the picture that's going to show up higher in the rankings, then they'll see the link. And the picture can't be the entire content. If your joke is entirely in the picture, no one will click through. But if the picture is just a hook to your video, will we run out of names? That Vsauce video, great hook. Will we run out of names? Put that up there with an interesting, captivating thumbnail. People will click on it. They'll say, well, that's an interesting question. Will we? We'll find out. Let's click on this video. Facebook doesn't penalize that. That's one of the ways in which I consistently outperform my list. I get more engagement with my posts with only 150,000 subscribers or followers than companies with millions, because they're not doing that. They're stupidly wasting. And by the way, when I told them this, they said, well, we don't want to change what we're doing. I said, well, okay, well then, do what you've always done. You get what you always got. I mean, what do you want? Why are we talking? I don't know. I'm sorry? So you know when you post a picture on Facebook, it lets you add a description, and usually people put that caption in there like, hey guys, here's me and my hubby in Maui. Rather than that, or rather than talking about your niece or nephew or baby, whatever, you can use that as a marketing tool. Say, hey guys, click this link for the content. Yeah.
Two real quickies. Do the picture thing. Sometimes if you put it in the description of link, it still seems like they will penalize you, so there'll be more and more dicks lately. What you can do is put a good picture up that's going to get liked and shared the first hour. An hour in, put your link to your content as a comment. Because then your stuff's getting shared virally. If you have 3 or 4 or 5 shares, when that share gets clicked on, you're going to see a comment by your page. Oh, that's page name with the link going out. That's great. Second thing, in the last 3 years, Facebook has choked the content down from 50% to 70% penetration. I know because the first $30,000 my web series made, I put all into Facebook ads. Got us 100, 200, almost 300,000 Facebook fans. We are only getting penetration, even our most engaged fans, 3%. So if I put a post up without keeping Facebook's money, we'll only get 10,000 people. If we pay to have something put up, I feel like we get less after we stop paying for the second post. Here's the trick. Facebook is trying to compete with YouTube now a little bit. You can put Facebook video up. Not all the time you're trying to monetize, but if you have no audience, no name, you're just trying to get your name out there, post it on Facebook as a video, because we've tested this on our site. Put a YouTube link up with an embedded YouTube videos, 10 times more views and showing up on our fans as a Facebook video, which pisses me off because it's not monetized. But 10 times more people will see it for free versus me spending $100 to $1,500 for a video, which I don't have to do that with. So that's a little trick, and that works now. And 1 to 6 months from now, that might not work, but those are 2 things that we're using now
Facebook's awful. Yeah.
Positive video. I mean, those are my things. Comment link.
Yeah.
Upload videos for YouTube. You're monetizing. If you're under 10,000 users, you're not making any money
Yeah.
anymore, so people can see it.
Right. That's good advice. I didn't know about the comment. That's a really good idea. If you post your link in the comment section, and a lot of times your fans will upvote your comment anyway because they like that the creator is engaging with them, right? The reason he brought up a good point too that Facebook is starting to reward video links. You see, your Facebook feed is full of videos that autoplay now because Facebook is now trying to position themselves as a competitor to YouTube. Facebook is trying to become, they're trying to create a video platform as well for video ads. It's really sneaky and shady the way they're doing it though, because much of the content is stolen from YouTube, and it's always posted on Hot 97's Facebook page or 105.3's FM's Facebook, and they post this content, they reappropriate your content that gets millions of views on Facebook that you're not getting paid for. There's a class action lawsuit waiting there, I think. Yeah, if you want more eyeballs on your content, Facebook is currently rewarding video content on it. So if you post it both on Facebook and YouTube, you might want to consider. A lot of creators I'm seeing now, they'll put it a little sizzle on Facebook as their little pitch to get them to come to YouTube because YouTube is monetized, Facebook is not. If your interest is getting your brand out there, post the whole video, post the whole content. Again, like you said, 10,000 clicks isn't going to get you paid anything anyway. So, I mean, it will. It'll get you what? $10, yeah. Yeah.
For videos, you really just mean more, they're making sure it's going to the feed first.
It's prioritizing it. Okay. Yeah. Because again, this is it was Curtis, right? Mm-hmm. Curtis's network. Curtis's social network. Their goal is to keep you on there as long as possible, and videos have higher engagement than other content. A picture is just a joke. They're going to look at it and move on. But a video is going to keep you engaged for 2-3 minutes, plus they can serve you an ad during it. If you want to see that video, you have to see the ad, whereas you don't with any other format. Like pictures, you can skip right through and you can put ad blockers and stuff in it. Videos, they can embed those, they can do all sorts of tricky stuff. And also, you come back to that problem of which content to serve your viewers. If you like 100 different pages on Facebook, then Curtis's network has to decide which ones are we going to show to which viewers. Again, they do that tricky shenanigans where they look at your browsing history and try to determine algorithmically what you like. Moving on, guys, it's a lot of hard work. I have worked harder for myself than I've ever worked for anyone else. I work from home, and it's just a non-stop barrage of shit talking from my friends and family. They always come out to LA and they want to go play with me, and they want to go around town and stuff. I'm like, guys, I work during the day. I have work to do. And they're like, come on, what's your work? What do you work from home? Of course I work from home, but I'm constantly doing shit. I mean, hell, it took me hours to put this presentation together. I mean, it's all work. This is work, you know? But it's so much work. But work hard and get shit done, guys. So I created this video a while ago that used, I just needed a 2 or 3 second shot, maybe like a second shot of some professor writing on a chalkboard. Well, first of all my content is clear on Facebook. So what that means is it's clear for usage rights, right? All images I use are clear. They're either copyright free or Creative Commons or sourced somewhere, or I buy them. I found this image on Wikipedia. It was public domain. And don't trust when it says public domain. Do your homework. You really have to check. This was a public domain image because it was like some government, whatever. I needed this professor writing something on the board. Well, this is what I started with. I took it, cleaned it up, I colored it, put the professor on different layers in Photoshop. I drew the stuff that I needed written on the chalkboard in the background with my tablet, with a texture that looks like chalk. And this is what the whole thing looked like. The finished product.
Rule number 4, stop snacking. Believe it or not, your eyes work irrespective of your mouth. Yes, it's true. Scientists have proven that your eyes will continue to work whether or not your mouth is chewing.
So those short few video sequences that I had, that second of footage, took me hours of work in After Effects. By the way, guys, I'm not a motion graphics guy. Yeah. I do that myself.
You're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
No, you can get interns and people. You're big enough people work for you for free and love to do it. You can pay them decent, dude. You can't.
I know.
It's smart to do that.
I know.
That's insane.
I don't believe in free work because I've done so much of it myself. I sold shows to TV shows. I mean, I know how it feels. I've worked so long and so hard for free that I feel bad getting people to work for free for me. So I try to do as much as possible. But the upside of it is I taught myself how to use After Effects. And now I'm a 3D modeler. I know how to do 3D modeling. And it's really cool. It's really neat stuff. But man, yeah, it's a lot of work. I do all this myself. I do all the editing. Yeah. I know. It's probably not the most efficient use of my time. Yeah.
What 3D program did you use?
That was Blender, guys. There's a 3D program called Blender. It's open source. It's free. I highly recommend it. I mean, it's free, but I send them money because I use it so much. It is so cool. You can do your own motion graphics. By the way, the learning curve for this stuff is really steep. Blender, oh my gosh, I have been working with this program. Let's see, I started my channel in 2008. I started actually doing this stuff for it like 2007. What's that, 8 years now. And I learn something new every single time I use the software. You use a piece of software for 8 years and you're still learning new things about it. And this isn't like, oh, I learned a new shortcut. I'm learning entire branches of things that you can do in the software that I didn't know you could do. It is one of the most complex pieces of software I've ever used in my life. There's so much to learn. But it's really great. It's really rewarding and it pays off. I mean, the downside is, again, as you mentioned, like, maybe it's not the most efficient use of my time. I should probably look into working with more people, but yeah, thank you. So work hard, get shit done. My first book almost killed me. It was so much work. When you get a book deal, when you're an author, when you're a writer, you think, okay, I'm gonna write this book, I'm gonna turn it into the publisher, and I'm done. Wrong. You have to do everything. I thought that I would have people to help me with graphics and layout and design and all these other elements that go into the book. Wrong. You have to do everything yourself. If you didn't put it in the book, it's not going in the book. Period. That's what I learned. And to get this book done, I had to coordinate artwork. So I asked for submissions from users. And I'll just tell the story real quick. I got thousands of submissions from people. People from Pixar were emailing me and saying, hey, we'd love to work on your book. And I thought, wow, I am so flattered that you guys want to work with me, but you're way out of my pay grade. I can't afford you guys. So these guys, I narrowed it down to 8 illustrators who had the right style I was looking for. Then this was pre-Facebook, guys. I was writing this book in 2004. That's right around when Facebook was starting to become a thing, and there were really no really great online resources for people to be able to upload their artwork. So I wrote my own program to do it. I wrote this program, this chat program, so my illustrators could communicate with each other and upload their artwork on the right-hand side. So everybody can see what everyone else is working on and stay on the same page. I wrote 2,000 lines of code to write my book. And then for every page that went into my book, there were 3 pages I wrote that didn't, because those were 3 pages of description and back and forth with the illustrator to make sure that their vision matched my vision. It was a tremendous amount of work. I did that whole thing in 6 months, and when I say that, I mean 0 downtime. I took 0 breaks. It almost killed me. I got high blood pressure. I got high cholesterol at 27 years old. I gained weight. I lost hair. It almost put me in a grave, and I thought, I'm never going to do that again. An important lesson I learned from that is to take breaks. So then my second book comes. That was a small publisher. And I thought, okay, well, small publishers must be incompetent. Big publishers, much better, right? Much worse. This is with Simon & Schuster, one of the big 4 publishers in the world. Number 1 or number 2, maybe. I think Warner's number 1. But this book was even more work. I turned this book in, and they gave me the layout. This is the layout they gave back to me. It's supposed to be a caption with my comment and the grade for the artwork. This is what they gave back to me. This is what they gave. This looks like garbage. This is This is so bad that non-artistic people were coming up to me and saying, Maddox, this looks like shit. I said, I know. I mean, look at here. You can see this pin here. Look at the drop shadow. It's pointing up. The drop shadow here is pointing down and to the left. It's awful. And the background is just plain. It's not dynamic. It's not interesting to look at. This is a visual book. So why aren't we doing something that takes advantage of the medium? Remember when I said take advantage of your medium? Well, my friend saw what was going on, and she offered to do this work for free. As an artistic director, I couldn't accept free work. I told her, I'll get you paid. I got her paid through the publisher, not as much as she normally makes, not as much as she deserves, but this is what she came up with. She said, this should be the layout for your book. The pictures go where the white is. The captions go where the yellow is. I said, brilliant. This looks great. This looks like a play area of a child. It's very organic and natural to the content I'm doing here. I had an entire chapter about cars. So she said, okay, if I hand this in to the publisher, will they Photoshop your artwork into the spaces? I said, yeah, of course, they have to. Right? I mean, that's all they have to do. That's super simple. They should be able to do that. Turns out they couldn't. This is what they gave me. So essentially, well, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. I wanted this artwork here and this one here put into this layout. So you get this blue car up top, the caption here, the red car down here. This is the finished layout. I did this myself. Let's see. Yeah, okay, this is what the publisher gave me. So you can see here the artwork is not cropped properly. They just literally pasted it right on top of the image. It's not blended. It doesn't look like it belongs. It looks like it's a different tone from the paper. This is what I turned in. You see the cars are overlapping correctly. It looks nice. This is what they gave me. Garbage. So and then the font for the letter, the grade, is exactly the same. I said, guys, it doesn't look dynamic. It doesn't look like someone actually graded this piece of artwork. They said, yeah, it's the same F. It's the same font. So they said, well, we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to. I'm like, you're the publisher. I'm an author. I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't even have to know how to do this. Well, guess what? If you want it done right, you have to do it yourself, right? There's that old saying. So I created my own font. I created my own handwriting. You can see here, the left is before. This is what the publisher turned in. Look at the car. Look at this image here. It's not cropped properly, and it has this like stupid, ridiculous fade on it. This is the correct version with the correct layout. Even after I turned in my own font, I wrote a bunch of letter Fs on a piece of paper and created my own font, scanned it in, did all this work. I mean, it came out beautifully. But this book again, and then once I turned in the photoshopped images, I said, okay, can you at least put the words in the layout? They said, we can't do that. We don't know how. It's too complex. I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it. Can you at least give me a copy of Adobe InDesign? Because that's how people use, that's the software people use for layouts. They said, we don't have a license for you. It costs $600. I'm like, I'm not spending $600 on this piece of software that I'm only going to use once in my life. So I downloaded the trial edition of the software, and I downloaded a book on how to do it, and I taught myself how to lay out my own book. I did this all myself. I laid out my book. I did the graphics. I did everything, and then I had to market it as well. Guys, no one will do anything for you. You have to do it yourself. It is so much work. I mean, you're looking at this page alone probably took easily, collectively, 12 to 16 hours for this page alone, this one layout, not counting the time it took to write or research or get the artwork. So back to YouTube content and the YouTube playbook. The important lesson there is just work hard, guys. So back to the playbook, though. Here are some rules you can ignore from this playbook. Everybody is always a slave to schedule. They tell you to put out content consistently on a consistent basis. Wrong. Wrong. You don't have to. And I am proof of that. There's many people on YouTube who put out content on a non-consistent basis, right? No one's ever going to be like, hey, man, remember that comedian? He's on every Wednesday. Let's go see him. He's on every Wednesday. No. They say, remember that comedian who told that funny joke and made us laugh? Let's check out and see what he's up to. Because they care about that good content. They don't care that content's coming out every day. It doesn't matter if you're releasing mediocre stuff on a consistent basis. What people care about is the good stuff. And they're going to remember it. They're not going to remember the infrequency. YouTube rates this 4 out of 5 on impact. They say it takes 1 hour time cost. I don't know how they came to that number, because they're essentially trying to say it takes an hour to create a schedule. I don't know what that means. Doesn't work. I don't recommend being a slave to schedule. Release content when it's good, when it's ready. Take your time. This screenshot's old. I have 252,000 subscribers now. This is when I had 136,000. But you can see some of the upload times of these videos. 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago. This was my most recent video at the time, or vice versa. And I still have a pretty decent, respectable subscriber rate. This is a person. This was someone I saw their YouTube channel. They have 364,000 subscribers. But look at their videos. You guys can't see this. Here, I'll try to zoom it up a little bit. This one posted in a week, out of 364,000 subscribers, only has 53,000 views. That one, 2 weeks ago, 142,000 views. 3 weeks ago, 57,000. 3 weeks ago, 65,000. They're not terrible numbers, guys, but they could be much better. They could be much higher. This is a person who releases on a schedule. And by the way, the person whose channel this is, they got burnt out. They stopped creating content. Because if you're releasing these videos and you're making 50,000 views, I mean, some of you would love to have those numbers. Who wouldn't, right? Those are great numbers. But you're not making money. And if you're making this your job, if you're doing this stuff consistently, every day, every week, whatever it takes, eventually you're going to hit your upper limit on how much free work you're willing to do versus the return you get, unless you love to do it. If you love to do it, God bless. This is where you should be. This is what you should be doing. One other thing, so the YouTube Creator Handbook always suggests that call to action, right? Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Sometimes you will benefit from some trends in the YouTube playbook without having to necessarily participate in them. For example, the call to action. I'm a hypocrite. I benefit from that, but I don't do it because I know that everybody is already conditioned to expect that. There's a big red subscribe button right under my videos. I don't need to have that call to action at the end of the video that people are going to skip anyway. I benefit from, I'm telling you guys not to do it, but I'm glad other people do it because I benefit from that. But you don't need to. Enough people are doing it. Even Conan O'Brien does it. SNL does it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that Conan O'Brien has a call to action for people to subscribe. He doesn't need to do that. But they're all following the advice of some content manager, maybe like someone at a workshop. I'm sure they tell you to have that call to action. YouTube was up my ass so much about that call to action. A couple years ago, for April Fools, I decided to make a video that was entirely call to actions. I made 7 seconds of content, and the rest of the video was call to actions. And it was so obnoxious. It got a ton of views, by the way. Everyone thought it was hilarious that I was clowning on them. Actually, I don't know if I have that video. I should have brought that. Yeah, that would have been pretty. No, it was actually the title of the video that I would do. It was something about Facebook quizzes are stupid and annoying. That was the content of my video. So it started out, here, I'll do the entire video. It's 7 seconds long. Started out, hey guys, welcome to the best show in the universe. Facebook quizzes are stupid and annoying. Until next time, I'm Maddox. That's the content. Then it's like, hey everyone, don't forget to subscribe to my Twitter, my Pinterest, my Google+. Don't forget to install my app. Check out every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I have comedy videos. On Saturdays, I have prank videos. On Thursdays, I have gaming videos. And here's the draw of my life. And don't forget to click on this website, buy my t-shirt, buy my blah, 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 blah. It was just nonstop. And I clown on a bunch of stupid internet trends out there anyway. They got the message, I think. I don't know, maybe. They're not going to change, and I'm not going to change. That's the bottom line. OK, this is one of the dumbest pieces of advice in this book, tentpole programming. So what their suggestion is to you is to create tentpole programming. Does anyone know what that is? A few of you? Yeah, OK. So tentpole programming, for those who don't know, is to release content around a big event. So E3 happened recently. Actually, I did release an E3 video, but that's not a great example. E3 happened recently, and they want people to release videos that have to do with this event. Christmas is happening. Release a Christmas video. Thanksgiving's happening. Halloween's happening. The advice they say is to, so here's the strategy. It says, create, release, and or package content that is themed around a tentpole event. They say why it works. Tentpole events capitalize on search trends and audience interests. Well, that's true, but if everyone's searching for it and everyone's doing it, then you have no advantage, do you? Everybody has tentpole programming. So you're suddenly putting yourself in a position where you're competing against lots of people. Why would anyone watch your video? What are you doing differently? It's really tough to compete. You know, guys, Apple, I shit on Apple, the company, a lot, but there's something really smart they do. Apple does their own convention. Has anyone heard of the CES show, Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas? I believe Apple used to be a part of that a long time ago, and then they pulled out. They decided we're no longer going to do the CES show because the Consumer Electronics Show is a show where companies showcase their new technology, their best and their brightest, right? All their new stuff, their new gadgets and toys. Well, Apple realized something really smart. They realized that when they were doing these shows, they were competing with all the other companies for the news cycle. If you are at this trade show and everybody's releasing their new phone and everybody's releasing their new gadget, suddenly you're just one voice in the sea of many competing for that piece of the pie, that piece of the advertising market, right? So Apple made their own keynote address, their own event where they released their own products specifically, and they are competing with no one. They have full control of the media cycle. Everybody's talking about Apple when Apple releases their new products. And this is an article from Wired, actually, from 2013. It says, Apple still casts a long shadow over CES. Apple has now overtaken the Consumer Electronics Show in the amount of press they generate. They won, guys. This is brilliant strategy. They took themselves from a place where they were in a position of weakness and put themselves in a position of strength simply by doing something that no one else was doing. Tentpole programming. So here's what they want you to do. You can see this curve here. It says pre-buzz. So this is when they want you to release your videos, pre-buzz. But guys, if everyone's doing it, then it's not really advantageous, is it? Because then the bump is going to move to the left a little bit of how busy it is people are talking about it. This is only useful for a few people who do this. The actual event, that's the peak of the media frenzy. And then post-buzz, it kind of dies down. I don't recommend tentpole programming as a general strategy. I mean, you can try it, but you're probably going to be less successful for the exact same reason Apple pulled out of the CES show, because they were competing with thousands of people for the exact same event. Thumbnail optimization, absolutely true. This is one of the few things in this book that I cannot stress enough. Thumbnail optimization is so important. Guys, put in work to produce a good thumbnail. The thumbnail is the visual cue. It's the visual hook on why they're going to click on your video. These are the thumbnails to my videos, some of my videos. Immediately eye-catching. You see the amazing double standard. Huge text, a big ass on the screen. Cool. And it's not gratuitous either. That's what I'm talking about in that video. I'm talking about that ass. That you're doing everything wrong video. Big picture of an apple, very clear title. Osama bin Laden death cookies. All right. Facebook quizzes are stupid. That's the April Fool's one. Oh, actually, I can pull it up online, too. Maybe I'll do that at the end. Formulaic. Real simple. I mean, you guys are sitting all the way on the back row. This is a thumbnail of a thumbnail, and you can still read it. Shut up. A case for the Grinch. Middle finger. Cool. BuzzFeed sucks. Instantly you get it. You know what I'm talking about. Pepperoni sucks. It's drawn in a poop font. That's cool. Really? Lol. Like, these are all good thumbnails, guys. These are thumbnails that get engagement. People will see the stuff, and it's like, it's interesting. It's funny. It's weird. Like, why is this guy shitting on BuzzFeed so much? Why is he saying shut up? That's rude. Someone's going to click on that. And it works, guys. So here's the best thing to do, and I've mentioned A/B testing with several of you with your videos. The best thing to do with your thumbnails is do some A/B testing. So first of all, if you have your own personal Facebook account, you have the Curtis account, you have the Rowe account, was it Nico? Oh, Kiko. You have your personal Facebook pages, right? Create an account specifically for your content or your brand, right? Then you can do some A/B testing. You can create 2 thumbnails. If you're not sure which one is better, because a lot of times I don't know. I mean, I have a hunch. I have a suspicion on what to click on. I mean, everyone's going to click on a hot girl, but that's just link bait, right? I mean, unless you specifically have that in your video and that's what you're talking about, it's kind of a cheap way to get clicks. And people won't respect that. people eventually will stop clicking on it because then you're just competing with every other hot girl, and eventually they're going to get in the realm of porn. Like that's where that traffic goes. It's not very useful. But if you create 2 thumbnails and you do A/B testing, put one on your personal page, and then put one on your page for your property, right? And see which one gets a better response. So this is something I do for my thumbnails. I create thumbnails for every single podcast episode I do. Every single podcast episode I do, I edit, I create thumbnails, I write copy, and I get them to come to the website. This is the thumbnail that I put out for the most recent episode. This guy, the topic we were talking about was anti-intellectualism. So we have this guy who's got a report card with the letter F with a plus on it, and he's got a thumbs up like an idiot. It did all right. We got 2,800 people reached, 81 likes on Facebook. Then I had this other thumbnail. It's stupid. It's my co-host, and someone photoshopped his face to be smaller, if that's possible. It got 191 likes. Okay, so 191 likes, couple shares, a bunch of comments, good engagement. So I posted that on my public Maddox account, and I posted the other one on the podcast page. This one got more engagement. So then on my third page, the Maddox page, the one that has 150,000 subscribers, that's the thumbnail I use, because that's the one that got the most engagement. I did A/B testing. You know, you guys are familiar with the website Upworthy? It's a horrible, horrible clickbait website. I hate it to death. However, the reason they're number one, the reason they get so much traffic, I mean, they're not number one, but they get a lot of traffic, is because they do A/B testing on their front page. They show a couple of different thumbnails and headlines for the same exact content, and then the one that gets the highest engagement, that's the one they promote on Facebook. There's no reason why you guys can't be doing this. Then I talked earlier about retention rates. This is also in the YouTube playbook. That's actually really useful to read about, is the retention rates. Without going into a ton of detail, because I think, how are we doing on time? Yeah, we're doing okay. So look in your analytics on YouTube. If you click on your analytics tab, and then you go into, on the left-hand side, you see about halfway down, highlighted in red, it says audience retention. There's a lot of really useful information here, guys. You might want to take a look at this sometime and see where the demographics are, who's watching your videos, what they're watching it on, tablet versus mobile versus whatever, because if they're watching it on tablet or mobile, you might want to create content that's easier to see or read on mobile devices. But anyway, you can see here, per second, the retention rate compared to other videos of similar length. So my average view duration for this video, it's 6 minutes and 2 seconds long. I get 70% retention rate. Then near the end, right here, that's the drop-off point, right? That's the cliff. That's the cliff where people sense the bullshit. Like, the video's ending. I'm going to get a call to action. I'm going to click away. That's what the call to action is essentially done to YouTube videos. So really look at that and see if there's sometimes you'll see a dip. And if you see a dip, that's where you need to go back and look at your video and see what's not engaging enough that people are clicking away. That Vsauce guy I showed you guys earlier, his video engagement's high. It's really high consistently, and it's 10 minutes long because he cuts the fat, he gets to the point, he has interesting content, it's compelling, it's driven. Rule number 4, have a strong hook or point of view and have something to say. I've mentioned this several times at the top. You really need to have a hook for your videos. You need to tell people who you are and what you do quickly, right at the top of the video. I used to do this thing where I would be coy with my thesis or my statement, whatever I was trying to say to people. I would kind of wait until I got into the groove of things in my video. No, that's not what Vsauce does. Vsauce doesn't do that, guys. He tells you right up front his meat and potatoes. Here it is. Here it is, guys. This is my hook. That's what I do now. In fact, I want to show you guys. Oh yeah, this is an article I wrote on my website. The title is "Anyone Who Doesn't Like Onions is an Idiot." Right? What a jerk thing to say. What an asshole. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to see what this jerk has to say about onions. Got a lot of views. But here's what I want to show you. Here are my own videos. Here are the hooks I use for my videos. Some of my videos.
Ever been eating an apple and think, man, I wonder if I'm doing this right? Yeah, me neither.
Everybody knows that the Grinch is the biggest asshole of the Christmas universe, but did you you ever stop to think that maybe you're the asshole? Want to know how every company in America can save 23% on their employee wages? Simple. Just hire women. Pepperoni is a topping for assholes and idiots. Another E3 wrapped up this year, and the big announcement was no announcement.
Just obnoxious, right up top, something dickish, and people hate me. And then when they hate me, they comment about how much they hate me, right? And then people argue, my fans argue with them, like, no, no, you don't understand the video. And they're like, no, no, I understand, he's a dick. And they go on and on and on and on and on. That's great. I love it. People hate me. I made it, guys. But here's the thing. I mean, there's a fine line, obviously. You can get hated for the wrong reasons. You don't want to get hated for the wrong reasons. You don't want to get loved for the wrong reasons either. I don't trust people who like me or hate me unless I understand their motivation. Like I don't care either way, but I'm not going to trust somebody who likes me because their opinion could be just as easily swayed the other way, right? You ultimately have to go with your gut and produce content because you love to produce it. If you listen to your fans, you'll get petrified. You'll have that demon in your head. Oh yeah, cool stuff. It was just a polar bear attacking a lady. I thought it was kind of cool. Yeah, so we're starting to wrap up here, yeah, those demons that get inside your head, you know, who would watch me? Why would they want to watch me, right? That's where it becomes dangerous. You don't want to get those demons to be too loud. If you're creating content because you love to create it, then you're in the right business because it's tough. It's really hard to just keep producing content. But that said, I made a couple hundred. I made a little bit of money from YouTube videos, more than I made in Hollywood, selling 3 shows. That's success, guys. You tell someone in the Midwest, hey, I sold a show to Fox. That's great, right? Except I got paid $0. Yeah, so don't be afraid to break the business model, okay? So I hate advertisements online. I think they're dishonest. I think they're intrusive. I think they're obnoxious. I use ad blockers. And if you come to my channel, I encourage you to use an ad blocker too. I don't care about the money, whatever. However, I have a different business model. I'm not just beholden to ads. I sell merchandise. I sell content. And that's another business model. Because essentially, think about the advertisement business model, right? Someone comes to your website or your video, and they see your content. They see your music video, right? You have, what was your name again? Frederico. Yeah, Frederico does some music videos. He had a video that hit #1 on iTunes a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, well, 2008.
2008. Yeah. They come to your website. He's selling that song on iTunes, right? Or the artist was.
Yeah, the title.
Okay. So that's great because you are selling the content that people are coming to you for. If you are selling the content that they're coming to you for, you've taken the middleman out of the equation. The business model of advertisements is this. Someone comes to your website, they see the advertisement, and then a small percentage of those people go out and they pay real money for that advertiser to buy their product, right? Well, why not take the middleman out of the equation and sell something? They're already coming to you, guys. They like you. They like what you have to say. Why not sell them something? That's my business model. So I don't have ads on my website. My website has over 270 million views. 280 maybe. I don't know. That's just on the front page alone. The page views are in the billions. If I had ads on there, I could have retired a long time ago. But I didn't because I promised not to a long time ago out of principle. I don't have any ads on there, but my business model has changed. My business model is to sell stuff on my online store. Some people call me a sellout. I sell hot sauce, I sell comic books and posters. They call me a sellout. But guys, there's a difference between selling out and selling, right? A sellout is somebody who compromises their principles for money. If you say that you will never do X, Y, and Z, right? It doesn't matter what that is. And then you do it for money someday, you've sold out. You've sold out on your principles. I used to be a sellout when I worked for a telemarketing company because I hate telemarketers. I hated the industry. I was the biggest sellout ever. And now that I'm doing this on my own, and I'm my own person, I'm a self-made man and an entrepreneur, I'm no longer a sellout because I'm not doing anything I hate for money. This is what I do, and this is what I like. And I think one of the best ways to make money online, an honest buck, is to sell somebody a product they want for a reasonable price. That's what I'm doing. So you might have some questions. I can be awesome like me. You can't. But you can still be awesome, guys. I just want to end on this one quote here. This is from Banksy. This is one of my favorite quotes. It says, "The time of getting fame for your name on its own is over. Artwork that is only about wanting to be famous will never make you famous. Any fame is a byproduct of making something that means something. You don't go to a restaurant and order a meal because you want to have a shit." Right? Think about the end goal. Make something that matters. Anyway, guys, that's about it. We'll wrap up here. Thank you.